You smug motherfucker. You're not severed. You walk out of here with your memories. You carry them home with you every night. No one can rip them away from you, snuff them out, like they never existed. Like you never existed!
That's enough!
Turn her back!
God damn it, stop doing!
Yes! Do it, Seth!
Fathead Muppet.
Oh, yes. We could feed him a pile of loose corn.
Real Enigmas and Theories is back again with another live stream wellness session. What's going on, family? How y'all doing out there this evening? I know I'm back from LA. You know what I'm saying? And I know my video came late, and my apologies for that. But I was in LA, as a lot of you know. Some of you don't know that I was in LA, and they were, you know, all in the comments like, yo, where's the video? And some of you that knew I was in LA was like, yo, where's the video? And I was like, well, damn. It's crazy how motherfuckers act for a free YouTube video. Like, let a brother get back to LA. Let a brother get back from LA and cook up something for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to do it while I was out there, you know. I'm not finna be sitting up in a hotel room working on a video while I'm out there in beautiful LA. LA was beautiful, by the way. Shout out to LA. Shout out to my man Highly Dedicated who pulled up on me. Shout out to my man Adam from Carnivore. What was it? Carnivore Today. Carnivore Today. Yes, the brother came through with the VIP ticket. We were sitting right in the front row of the event. The event was crazy. The event was fire. Milchick came out with the marching band. I went live from my Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. I go live, you know what I'm saying, from Instagram often. Well, not all the time or nothing like that. But when I'm in the studio, if I'm out and about, I might pop on. You know what I'm saying? I might pop on. You might see me pop on. You know what I mean? That was crazy. You know what I mean? That was a good experience being out there with those two brothers. They definitely looked out. You know, yeah, we saw Milchick, we saw Mark and Helly. You know what I mean? We saw Lauren, the goat lady, We saw Evil Hodor, Gemma. You know what I mean? The only people that really wasn't there was Natalie, Irv, and Bert. You know what I'm saying? We saw Dylan, he was there. Ben Stiller was there. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, everybody was there. It was fire. It was a dope event. It was 3,300 people in attendance, 33. You know what I'm saying? It was full to capacity. It was sold out totally. Paley Fest is dope. Severance was the only event sold out, which was crazy as hell. You know what I'm saying? That was fire. Everything was fire. You know what I'm saying? The IG is right there on the screen, at Real Enigmas and Theories. And when I got back from LA, I got sick. And I know y'all can hear it in my voice. I know y'all could probably hear it in my voice on the video as well. You know, that shit was crazy. Like, me coming back, like, it was like I felt so energized in LA. And I feel like I know the exact moment that I got sick. When I was in the airport, I was sitting by this young couple. They was nasty as hell, digging in their nose. Both of them was digging in their nose and kissing each other and shit, and rubbing the shit on the seats and all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a nasty environment where motherfuckers is just digging up their nose and rubbing that shit on stuff, yo. And I had to say, I ain't gonna lie, you know, I had to say something to the one couple. I said something, I was like, bro, I don't know like what y'all got going on over here, but your lady digging boogies and wiping that shit on the seat is nasty and shit. You got people's kids in here. Like, it's people in here like that don't want to get sick, don't feel like getting sick. And then he looked at me like he couldn't understand English and shit. And I said, well, shit, you doing it too, so you probably don't give a fuck. And I just walked away and shit like that. As you know, I am here with my Miss Reels tea, hot as could be. You know what I'm saying? I could stand it this time, though. It ain't that hot. Let me get a sip real quick. You know what I mean? Hold on. Yeah. Exactly, Food Pyramid. They were trying they were trying to share vessels up in that motherfucker and digging boogies and shit out. Yo, that shit was nasty as fuck. Like, don't get me wrong. Everybody digs their nose. Like me, I try to do it the most cleanly way possible. You know what I'm saying? Blow your nose like in a hygienic way. You know what I'm saying? Get the shit up out of there when you got to. You know what I mean? But motherfuckers was digging in their nose, and they wasn't the only one that I saw doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm sitting there in the airport, and I started feeling this tingling in my nostril, in my left nostril. I mean, I am the one that peeped out the left ear symbolism, but then fucked around and felt some tingle in my left nostril and shit. So I fucked around and I was like, man, I'm about to get sick. And I said that shit to myself in the airport. And I got up, went to the bathroom, blew my nose out and everything. And, you know, I was like, man, I hope I'm good, you know. So the flight was like 5.5 hours. So I get to Atlanta. Everything's fine. I feel fine, but Atlanta was cold as shit when I got back. And so, boom, I get home and, you know, I'm loving on the family and all of that. And I took a nap, you know what I'm saying? Because my flight in LA left at like 11:30 in the night. And I didn't get home to Atlanta about like 6 in the morning. So I laid down, I took a little rest. And when I woke up, it felt like I had cement in my nose, in that left nostril. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I'm gonna just tell y'all, I straight up took a Q-tip, dipped that motherfucker in some vinegar, and stuck that shit in my nose. And that shit had me sneezing for about 5 minutes straight and cleared me up. It really cleared me up. Then I took some sea salt water and I sniffed up the sea salt water in my nasal passages. And then I got the neti pot out, pulled the neti pot out on their ass real quick, got me some hot purified water, mixed it up with some cold purified water, a little bit of sea salt, a couple drips of that vinegar or that vinegar, as I like to say. And I hit the neti pot 2 times on both nostrils, bang, bang. So like, I would have been really down bad. I wouldn't have been able to do my video at all if I wouldn't have did that stuff. And I did that stuff. And then I got Then I got up in the bathtub and poured like half a gallon of vinegar in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Put a little bit of lavender oil in that motherfucker, a little bit of peppermint oil, a little bit of eucalyptus oil up in that thing. And I sat down in the water and laid in that water until it got cold. You hear me? And yeah, that shit definitely brought me to life. Like, I would not be talking to y'all right now. Y'all would not have got a video from me if I wouldn't have did those things. Cause I mean, even you could hear on the video, my shit was kind of fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Yo, how about Evil Hodor held the door? And we talked about this in the one joint, like in in the after show. We talked about the Evil Hodor holding the door. Man, I got people out here acting like they came up with that shit. I got people out here using my jokes without giving me mention. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of disappointing and shit that motherfuckers do shit like that. You know what I mean? You know, theories, robbing theories, like they came up with the shit, all type of shit. You know what I mean? And it's all good, right? I just look at it like this. You know, some people don't have the talent to do their own thing. You know what I mean? That they got to steal yours. And I'm not going to call their name out, because I think that's exactly what they want me to do. You know what I'm saying? I think that's exactly what they want me to do. They want me to call their name out so then all you guys could go run over there and see what the fuck it is. But if you saw it, you saw it. And I saw it. It was pointed out to me by a couple of people. You know what I'm saying? They pointed it out. A couple of my subscribers pointed it out to me like, yo, so-and-so is stealing your joke. Like, they made the shit up. And I was like, damn, for real? I don't think so. Nah, that's the homie. I go look, and sure enough, my jokes is all up in the videos and shit without mention of me at all. So I would, yo, Golden Child, I would name names. You know what I'm saying? I would put an address on that shit. But I'm not even gonna say nothing, because that's what that motherfucker wants me to do. They want me to mention that shit. But shout out to the people in their comment section who actually did mention, like, yeah, you stole real shit, or real said that shit. You see what I'm saying? Now, usually I put an address on some shit. If I got something to say to you, I put an address on it. But I can tell that this particular person did that shit in a way to where they want me to say something, because they know I'll say something. See, I'm from the 90s. I wasn't born in the 90s. I was born in the late 70s. But I grew up in the 90s. Those were my influential years, right? From 10 to 20. You know what I'm saying? Those is the years that I was bodying niggas in the rap scene in Florida, Central Florida. Like, you know, motherfuckers know. Like, and if you stole somebody's raps back then, you got your ass beat. I don't give a fuck if it was you, if you stole a rap from a guy that you was battling or not. Either way, you got your ass beat. If the guy's raps wasn't his, then they'd beat your ass for trying to use somebody's raps against them. Like, straight up. That's just where I come from. This new age shit is crazy because it's almost celebrated to copy people. Like, you know, it's almost like celebrated to like not do your own thing. It's almost celebrated to try to be like somebody else. You know what I'm saying? It was a couple jokes this season. Like when I said the Uncle Ben's rice, like the black kid looked like Uncle Ben. Like, it was motherfuckers stealing that. It was people, like, it is what it is. But I'm gonna say this though. I mean, some people's like, yo, you know, you can't copyright a theory and all of this shit. Nah, I get you on that. And I said this before, like, if I right now try to act like I created the theory of gravity, would that not be imposing on Sir Isaac Newton? I'll even do you one better, right? What if somebody has a YouTube page and they start saying Dave Chappelle's comedy routines on their YouTube page? Would you then feel like it was piracy? Or not piracy? Would you then feel like it was plagiarism? Like, that's the question you got to ask yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Y'all saw it. You know, shout out to Miscellaneous Gab. We gonna be Mila, I see you. We gonna be doing a live stream tomorrow. We doing another wellness session tomorrow. Me and Miscellaneous Gab right here on Real Enigmas and Theories. We gonna be doing that tomorrow. That is, I believe, is around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those on the West Coast, it's going to be 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. That's going to be a fire joint right there. I've been watching her channel this season. She is so on point, and she, you know what I'm saying? I like her shit for real. Her shit is dope. You know what I mean? Her takes are great, and I can't wait to, you know, join the stage with her. You know, right here on Real Enigmas and Theories. Tomorrow, we're doing another wellness session, back-to-back wellness sessions. We need them. We definitely need them because of the way that finale hit us with the freeze frame at the end of running through the hallway. Yeah, we need some wellness sessions. Definitely need some wellness sessions. Mila said, Lord, refine my soul is the best. I had said, Lord, refine my mind, but Lord, refine my soul is the gospel album. Definitely. I think, yo, I've been saying some shit like, I've been saying some shit all season, but I never really said it to y'all. You know what I'm saying? But don't James Egan look like a black John Witherspoon? Hold on, yo. I gotta get the picture, yo. Hold on, I gotta get a picture of my man John Witherspoon real quick. And I love John Witherspoon. John Witherspoon is one of the best. But James Egan look like John Witherspoon, y'all. Bro look like a white John Witherspoon. Y'all don't hold me now, though. Yo, this shit is hilarious. Hold on, wait till y'all see it, though. Hold up. Bro looks just like John Witherspoon. You can't tell me this is not the black James Egan right here, y'all. Bro. Yo, I can't get that shit out my mind. I'm talking about the nose and everything. Bro look like John Witherspoon, yo. Kiss my ass. Pause. Yo, you can't tell me James Egan don't look like John Witherspoon. Get the fuck up out of here. Look at this right here. Yeah. That's James Egan all day. That's the black James Egan, yo. This shit had me crying, yo. It's the nose. That nose is nosing. James Egan's nose is definitely nosing. Word up. That shit is crazy. Oh, see, here's a white John Witherspoon right here. Yo, I'm fucked up. Yo, this is hilarious. Bro looks like, hold on, wait, y'all think I'm bullshit, wait.
Fathead Muppet.
Yo, you can't tell me that. You can't tell me that don't look like bro. That's James Witherspoon right there, goddammit. Yo, let me quit. Yo, we got a lot to talk about. We definitely got a lot to talk about. Y'all crazy in them comments. Oh, shit. Rockstar texted, wait, I'm seeing it now. Debbie, Evie, Bobevi, Banana Fan, Fofevi to the feed, 5 more Mevi, Debbie is in the building with me. Yo, what's good? She said, don't nobody go to the bathroom for the next 45 minutes. Yo, James Egan looked like he would fuck that bathroom up, yo. I'm not gonna hold you. James Egan looked like if he go up in that bathroom, it's over with for like at least an hour and a half. And he better leave the window open. Like James Egan looked just like he'll fuck that bathroom all the way up. Especially how he walked. Especially after eating raw eggs for breakfast, you know he's tearing bathroom, he's peeling paint. He's a paint peeler. Yo, hold up. Hold on. I gotta do something real quick. Hold on. Let me see something. Let me see if I can pull this video up. I'm gonna pull this video up real quick. Hold up. Let me see. Why do I let y'all into my crazy ass humor like this? I always do this shit. Hold on. I gotta this part right here of my own video had me crying, y'all. Like, this shit right here is funny. I'm sorry. Hold up. I gotta play it. It's straight from my last video. If you didn't see it, you about to see it now, goddamn. Yo, because this video didn't get a lot of views. I'm cool with not getting a lot of views. Like, if YouTube shuts down right now, I'll be fine. Like, I wouldn't give a shit. At the same time, though, I wish people would have saw my review on this, because I really like this review. You know what I'm saying? I felt like this was kind of impressive. Let's see what we got going here. Oh yeah, here it go. Here it go. Without further ado, let's pull out those magnifying glasses and cook. I have to say that I now understand why Evil Hodor and Natalie looked at each other. Yo, that ain't coming with no sound? Is that coming with some sound? Let me know if y'all can hear that. Lost sound. Okay, hold on. How do I get the sound popping? All right, I'll do it like this real quick. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. Damn, what happened to the Okay, yeah, I know what I gotta do. Yo, they changed some shit in StreamYard. StreamYard's kind of corny, man. I'm about to leave this shit, man. This shit's corny. Hold on. I know I gotta turn the music and everything off. Just turn it off real quick right there. Yeah, here we go. Spoilers for the entire show from season 1 and 2. So without further ado, let's pull out those magnifying glasses and cook. I have to say that I now understand why Evil Hodor and Natalie looked at each other and they said they didn't want to tell James Egan about what happened at the Orc Ball. Because this cat is weird as all get out. I mean, dude said,
I threw a tin of candies.
I threw a tin of candies. What was he talking about? Some Altoids or some shit? Imagine everybody chilling and talking and you got this guy in the room walking around like he trying to sneak up on somebody. Nurse, could you tell one of them CNAs to come down here and get their patient? Yeah, he's down here wandering around the 7th floor looking for the bathroom. Please tell somebody to come get him before he shits in the break room. Thank you. Yo, that part right here had me crying when I said that. I was freestyling, y'all. Yo, bro, bro got that Joe Biden walk, yo. Their patient. Look at him walking. This guy in the room walking around like he trying to sneak up on somebody. He got the Joe Biden walk. Could you tell one of them CNAs to come down here and get their patient? Yeah, he's down here wandering around the 7th floor looking for the bathroom. Please tell somebody to come get him before he shits in the break room. Thank you. I mean, look at this guy's computer. They was like, okay, Mr. Egan, we're gonna keep it simple. We're just gonna put 4 buttons on this motherfucker for you. We already made you a personal elevator that comes right to this room so you don't get lost. Yo, we gonna keep it simple for you, Jane. We just put 4 buttons on this motherfucker for you. Yo, I don't crack myself up like that much, but yo, this shit was crazy. That shit was funny as hell. The 4 buttons on the keyboard is hilarious. Word. Like this dude, he was like, they was like, yo, man, let's just put a picture of his granddaddy up on the wall and 4 buttons on the keyboard. I think he can manage. Just make sure that the hallway, there's no hallway to the door. There's no hallways where this motherfucker get lost. Just make the elevator go right down to the room he's trying to go in. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this motherfucker is hilarious to me. James Egan is a fire character though. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you know, I don't know, like he's a dope character to have on a show like this. Like you have to have this. Like I would not be chilling with homie at the family reunions and shit like that, but he's definitely a creepy character for a creepy show like this. Severance is creepy. It's not scary. It's not, you know, it's kind of thrilling. You know what I mean? At some parts, it's not a lot of action or anything going on. The most action we got was Ragabi busting down Grainer and the fight scene with Mark, Evil Hodor, and Lorne. That was it. That was the most action that we've got this entire shit. Or I guess you could say Mark running through them hallways like that was a little bit of action, but nothing really. This show, it needs a James Egan. I'm glad that they put more of James Egan in this season. Like we only saw him one time last season, but yeah, we need more characters like James Egan. Like I want to see some more Egans. I know they family is probably big as fuck when you come to think about it. Like where's Helly's cousins and stuff? And that one dude looked like a Egan, that one of her drivers that time. He looked like one of the Egans from the Perpetuity Wing. You know what I'm saying? So and Cobell saw him and got the fuck out of there. You know what I mean? But yeah. Yeah, let me check. Let me do what we usually do real quick. Let's do these shout outs. I'm not gonna go all the way up to the top for the shout outs. I'm gonna just tell you that right now. Because I've been rambling on for a little bit and 150 people done came up here. Now here we are. So I'm definitely gonna shout out from right about 8 minutes ago. We got MJ Jones in the building. What's going on, MJ Jones? Miss T is here. We have Dawn in the building. Jen the teacher. We got Theo here with us. Yes, indeed. We got my brother All City Big Heck in the building. Big Heck is who put me on to something that Mark Geller said about being the snake oil salesman. Yeah. We got Steve the Green Hand. Yes, indeed. Good to see you, fam. We got No Context in the building. What's up, fam? Christine Jellybean is here with us. Food Pyramid, Rockstar. We got Debbie Yebby Bo Bebby in the building. We got Mickey B, the beautiful, wonderful Mickey B is here. We got Kate Elliott, the beautiful Kate Elliott. How are you? Good to see you again. Who else we got here? We got Annie here. Who else? Lady Stoneheart. What's going on? Good to see you. Who else we got here? Oh, y'all laughing right now. I'm at the point where y'all is laughing. Hold on. Debbie knows the culture. Respect. Yes. Yes, indeed. Kyle Gross is here. What's good with you, fam? He needed to coordinate. Yo, James Egan didn't give a shit. James Egan with the raw egg farts. Oh no. You know that shit. You know he stink, bro. Like, you know what I mean? He one of them old heads that stink. Every time he fart, he shit himself a little bit. Like, yeah, he one of them old heads right there. Who else we got here? We got Elizabeth Holden. How you doing, love? Peace. Good to see you. Who else we got here? We got It's K2. What's going on? Thank you, K2, for letting me know it wasn't no audio in that thing. I don't know what StreamYard is doing. Like StreamYard went up in their price, so they got us paying like $50 a month now, and they didn't do anything to the service at all. Like they didn't fix it. They didn't make it better. They didn't add any new features. They just said, fuck you, we going up. Brian is in the building. What's going on with you? We got Pax Bander here. Christy Roberts is here. You know what I'm saying? Leave It to Bubby is here. How you doing? Happy you are live, real? Yes, indeed. I'm live and I direct. We got Aaron Lauren here. What's going on? Good to see you here. Who else we got? Who else we got in here? We got some shy people that's not commenting. You know what I mean? The Boy Wonder. What's good with you? Sound like a producer name right there. Yeah. Who else we got here rocking with us? I appreciate all of you guys for being here. The cat in the tinfoil hat is here. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about some things that I feel like I definitely figured out. I got a ton of shit right in this season. I'm not going like hold you. I got a ton of shit right. I'm going to go through it. Not this live stream, but I might do it in a video where I do a whole audit of all my videos and show the things that I got right, some of the things that I got wrong. One thing that I definitely got wrong was them revealing that Helly was pregnant, but they did not dumb down the symbolism. So I think that's going to be something for season 3, because it is kind of non-productive to put it in there now, like at the very end. And I can see that because I mean they just smashed like a couple days ago, right? But I do think she knows that she wasn't pregnant, and that's why she definitely didn't want to take the eggs raw, because pregnant women can't drink raw eggs. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I think that's something we'll get for season 3. The fertility symbolism was all over the place. I know y'all saw Cobell doing the yoni mudra. It was totally the yoni mudra. She had the fingers curled and everything. Like, you know, yeah, I thought that was fire. But something very interesting about my last video, and I'm gonna play a part of it too. I'm gonna play a part of it. Oh, we got the beautiful no context here. Yes, indeed. Who else we got? We got Gregory here. Yes, Baird is who he looked like. He looked like Baird. Yes, indeed. You know what I mean? I made a connection to Baird. Oh man, what's the brother's name who created the television? And I thought that was kind of dope. Hassler is in the building. We got Scotty Saturn here. Sunshine Chick, the beautiful Sunshine Chick is here with us. We got Sunshine Chick in the building. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. The bro Coriano's in the building. Yes, good to see you, Coriano, as always. Who else is here with us? The Sun Wukong. What's good? What's up, real? What's up, chat? What's up, everybody? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 50 a month is crazy. Like, they out of their motherfucking mind. And they didn't do anything. They actually made the shit more confusing. Especially like when you want to share a screen or invite, they got like, I don't know what this thing is here. I haven't even used it yet. I'm not using that. I'm gonna just use the buttons that's already been there and I've been using them. We got Mr. Case here. We got Petty Gibbs in the building. What's going on, Petty Gibbs? Petty Gibbs is a wordplay on Freddie Gibbs. Freddie Gibbs is a rapper. He's pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? We got Niecy Smith here. We got Sean Radford. Garrick is here. What's going on, Jay Garrick? DJ Rush, what's good with you, fam? I got a lot of music heads in the building. I love that. I love that. Nocturnal Nut is here. What's good with you? Good to see you. We got D Green in the building. Charlie Murphy. Yes, indeed. Shout out to Charlie Murphy. And yo, you know what? Rest in peace, Charlie Murphy. But I feel like I've been saying this too much lately. Rest in peace to my homie, yo. Young Scooter passed away yesterday on his birthday. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of some like crazy shit around his death. You know what I mean? Like the cops said he jumped over a fence and hurt his leg and he died at the hospital. And like, what was crazy about it was the reports of him being dead was out before he died. So that was strange because he wasn't dead when everybody was saying that he was dead. And when everybody was saying he was dead, they were saying that the cops shot him, which the cops have said that that didn't happen and he wasn't shot. So I don't know what's going on with that. You know what I mean? Young Scooter was somebody who I fucked with heavy. When I was in the promotion game, I did like 3 shows with him, two in Georgia and 1 in Tennessee. And like I booked him to come to 3 venues pretty much. And every time he that shit was sold out. Like I definitely made my money with Young Scooter. I worked with him. You know, I tried to get some beats to him and stuff like that, but this dude got like tons of little beat makers around him and stuff like that. But I definitely wanted to like give him some of that like uh big time sounding heat. You know what I mean? Like that big mainstream sounding heat. Not mainstream bubblegum bullshit, but just some mainstream hip hop heat. Like some mainstream trap music type hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to give him some of that. And I had like, what was crazy is after I did the first show with him, I made a couple beats like specifically for him, and he was on a crazy roll that season. And we talking about this was back in like, man, 2010, 2011, and 2013. I rocked with him for 3 years straight, actually. I think it was, hold on, it might have been the 2013 one probably. It was probably like I probably did 2 in 2010 and 1 in 2011, something like that. But I brought out Young Scooter like 3 times. I took him to Dalton twice and I took him to Chattanooga. So we had a good show. We had 3 good shows, and he definitely sold them joints out, and we made bread, and it was just so much love from the brother and his team. Um, I met a couple other artists through him as well. Yeah, like it's so sad to hear that Young Scooter is dead like that. And the way he died and all that, running from the cops. And they said he jumped over 2 fences and he fell and hurt his leg. I'm trying to figure out like I know you could probably like fall on something and cut a main artery or something and bleed out. You know what I mean? But I don't know what happened. You know what I'm saying? It's very sketchy, the details surrounding his death. And you know what I'm saying? He was a good dude. Like, I don't know him personally. I only know him from a business, rocking with him with business. And we chilled and hung out, you know, before and after the events and stuff like that. And, you know, talked to him. I told him I was going to send him some heat. He, you know, he got the joints and stuff like that. I don't know if he listened to him or not. I don't know what happened. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, you know, you do business with somebody and, you know, you keep it what it is. You know what I mean? But that shit was sad. You know what I'm saying? That shit was super sad. And it was on his birthday, which is even crazier. So, you know, man, that shit's crazy. I'm tired of saying rest in peace. I don't even want to hear no more people dying this year that I knew. First, you had Angie Stone, you had Roy Ayers. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are 2 people that I met. I was with my mom when I met both of them. You know what I mean? And then they passed away. Yeah, what's going on? What's crazy about the Angie Stone situation is she died on her son's birthday. So that shit was even wild. Like, why are these people dying on these birthdays like this? What's going on, yo? Shout out to Brandy for the super chat. Thank you very much for your generosity. And she says, has anyone talked about Bert saying we never use words like that? Meaning Irv was his old Lumen partner and he was referring to himself and Irv? Nah, no, I haven't talked about that. I talked about the Lumen partner, which I think was Dr. Peabody. You know what I'm saying? Jalia is in the building. How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. Hey, Real Enigmas in the realest chat. Yes, indeed. We got the realest chat over here. We got the illest chat. We got Mr. Case in the building. What's good with him? Yeah. Uh-huh. But yeah, I don't know like what the deal is with all these, you know, rest in peace to Young Scooter. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit's crazy, man. The press conference was crazy. Yeah, the press conference was crazy. Did you see the way the guy was acting and shit while he was reading and shit? It was like he knew he was lying. I don't know. I know people was hitting my phone yesterday saying, yo, stay away from downtown, this, that, and the third. They about to do this and that. Like they was about to turn up on the cops yesterday because everybody thought that the cops killed young Scooter. But they probably did. Like, I don't know what happened, yo. Like, that shit's fucked up, man. I don't even talk about that no more. That shit's it's real, it's I don't know, it's sketchy. You know what I'm saying? But yes, we got the beautiful, wonderful Vic in the building. Son, B-Day will never be the same. Yo, for real. Yo, that shit is crazy. Surprisingly, no camera footage either. What's crazy about it is why don't the cops got the body footage of them giving chase? Like, we need to see that. Like, you know what I mean? We don't know. We don't know. You know. Yeah, it wasn't Bert's husband looked different from season 1. It wasn't the same actor. It wasn't the same actor. I pointed that out in a video and everybody was like, "You're wrong. It's the same guy." And I'm like, "No, the fuck it's not. It's not the same person at all." Like the guy from season 1 was a lot bigger than the Fields that we saw. We didn't even know his name was Fields yet, but Fields was bigger in season 1. Like when they came and hugged, you could see him through the window. Like, yeah, Fields was bigger in season 1. It was a different actor. You know what I mean? But I thought that might have had some significance. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it does. You know what I mean? I think that the guy that they had playing Fields in this season was the guy that they intended on having. But they couldn't get him for season 1, so they went and got this guy, and then they were able to get Bro back for season 2. That's what I heard happen. You know what I'm saying? So Annie says, I thought so too, but apparently it's the same actor. No, I heard multiple different stories. You know what I'm saying? I heard multiple different stories, but the one that seems to stick is it's different people, but it's meant to be the same person pretty much. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense, which it doesn't, but you know, that's all I got. You know, but like I said, we're going to talk about something tonight that I definitely want to talk about, and it's the Waffle situation. People think I'm reaching with that, and I'm going to break it down. I don't think I made it clear enough on what I meant by the Waffle symbolism. The Waffle basically represents the Eucharist, okay? Now, I'm going to break this down for y'all real quick. Hold on. I might have to pull it up in my video just so y'all could understand where I'm talking about. Katie says the freeze frame at the end of the episode is now her lock screen. Fire. Yeah, definitely. That was different actor, same role. Okay, yeah. That freeze frame was just like, yo, no, y'all didn't do that like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all didn't do it like that. You know, I think pretty much Gemma and Mark just switched spots. And I think that Mark is going to be going through some shit because of what he did to Evil Hodor. I think they're going to be taking Buddy up through there. Let me get some of this good old tea real quick. Ooh, that motherfucker's still hot. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm out here in the trenches right now with y'all with the straight up cold. Like, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ian Sharp. Thank you for your generosity, fam. From what we know about MDR, from what we know about what MDR was doing with the numbers, do you think that adds a new context to Dylan when he said some of the files expire in season 1? Yes. Yes, indeed. And I think that there's like, yo, and I'm going to do a video about that. I've been thinking about that and pondering on that. I'm going to do a video about that. Hold on. Let me do something real quick to pull this up so that we can talk about this Waffle situation. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. I think I got it set up pretty good here. Hold up. You know. Nah, yeah, like those files expiring, we definitely got to talk about that. Let's see. Vic said I had mentioned it, then it looked and then looked into it. What happened was season 2 Fields wasn't available. So they got a stand-in for season 1. Yeah, that's what I said. That's all after that. That's what all the stories and that's what everything led me to. You know what I'm saying? Because you could go look at the IMDb and it's definitely not the same person. They look similar, but they favor, but they don't have the same body type or nothing. Like the first dude in season 1 was big, he was taller and more stout. And the one in season 2, he's a little old dude. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let me go ahead and hook this up for us so we could chat about this Waffle situation. Because the Waffle is pretty much taking, all right, so we know that Kier has been pretty much deified. Like he's a deity, right, with these folks. And with him being like a deity, he pretty much they have like this lore around him where they even say like Kier invites you to drink of his water. Like that's like communion. That's like taking communion. And then the waffle is like the Eucharist, right? And what I broke down in the video, I don't know if it landed good, but I don't think I made it clear enough. But I'm definitely gonna go over it real quick with you guys so that you could feel where I'm coming from. So let's go to the waffle part. Okay. Yo, this part was fire too. I don't know if y'all caught this, the Kundalini symbolism with Milchick's staff. Okay. The Kundalini is a coiled snake at the bottom of the root chakra. Okay. And as you open your pineal gland, the how the pineal gland opens is the serpent makes its way to the top of your spine. Now he had a scepter at the top of his baton or cane or whatever, right? And this is that scepter represents the pineal gland, right? As a matter of fact, what's so crazy is at the top of his scepter, I don't know if you realized it. I couldn't get a really good picture of it. I do have a picture of it around here somewhere where I freeze framed it, but not in the video. I didn't have it. I didn't have it when I did the video. I didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? He's also wearing the Masonic gloves, like the ladies at O&D was wearing.
Gesture that represents a fraternal.
See what I'm saying? They wearing the Masonic gloves, and look how they're holding their hands, like the Masonic pose. You know what I'm saying? And I know all of this stuff is in drum major stuff, but if you don't understand, like the drum major stuff is highly Masonic. As a matter of fact, the drum major stuff comes from wartime Masons and whatnot. Your Templar Knights and whatnot. You know what I mean? That's where the whole drum major thing comes from. That's where it originated. You can go look that up. You know what I'm saying? That's where it originated. It has Masonic origins. And all Masons wear the white gloves, meaning that their hands are pure and what they do is not the actions of themselves, that they're doing actions for a higher power. That's what that's even in Christianity as well, when you have like the ushers that have the white gloves on and these things right here. That's what that symbolizes. That's what that breaks down to. But yeah, let's get to this waffle shit real quick. Okay. Yeah, and I talked about, okay, so I talked about the snake right here. Okay. The snake is also that serpent at the bottom. And it's funny that the snake in the Bible that stepped to Eve was offering her higher level of consciousness through the apple. He offered her an enlightened path. He enlightened her. You know what I mean? Of knowledge forbidden knowledge. He gave her forbidden knowledge, right? And in our show, they actually liken the pineapple. Not only does the pineapple have the word apple in it, right? They also made him Bob for pineapples. So they were making a likening to the snake and the apple right there with the pineapple, which represents the pineal gland. And you know, we talked about that. So we'll go over that some more in videos as well. It's a part of my arsenal already now. We have the Yggdrasil. This right here is Yggdrasil. Let me pull up the Yggdrasil. The Yggdrasil is the tree that goes to different lands, okay? And I don't know if you guys know about Odin, but Odin hung himself on Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil pretty much is a tree that can take you to different places, just like an elevator. And Heli hung herself in the elevator, which is Yggdrasil, right? So there's your symbolism with Odin and things of that nature right there. You know what I'm saying? I noticed that a lot of the symbolism gender swaps. Like I noticed a lot of gender swapping between Mark and Devin. Like he called her my lord and she called him milady, right? I always thought that that was strange that he called her milady, she called him milady, he calls her my lord, right? That's a gender swapping inside joke that they have that they never really explained it, right? Another thing was when Petey Petey came to Mark and he had a card with some instructions and the address and all of that stuff. And he was like, "Oh, this is the only card that I could find." It was a card for someone's niece. You know what I'm saying? That was like a gender swapping thing right there. There were a couple more gender swapping aspects. Even they had the pregnant statue, the male pregnant statue by the fireplace, which actually looked like Evil Hodor a little bit to me. So Evil Hodor is fashioning his likening to someone else, obviously with the with the um with the with his hairdo and whatnot. So I brought that up too a little bit. I didn't say nothing about it in the video, but we're gonna get to it. So let's go over this part right here.
Then we got the Axis Mundi that he's actually holding in his hands. Come on, y'all. This is top tier symbolism right here, y'all. And being that we're dealing with top tier symbolism, this waffle shape is tapping into the Vesica Pisces symbolism, which the
Now I'm gonna stop it right there. Now somebody came into the comments saying that I was reaching with the whole waffle symbolism. And I just feel like they totally missed everything because I know that the waffle symbolism is 100% on point, especially when I saw this right here. This is not just a waffle, guys. This right here is called the fish's net, right? This is called the fish's net, which is created by the Vesica Pisces, right? Here it is.
waffle pattern actually.
Okay, so this is called the fish's net, and it's created by the Vesica Pisces. When you take these interlocking circles and you get this pattern here, this is where this pattern comes from. This pattern comes from the Vesica Pisces, which everything in existence is created through this shape. You have the dot, right? Or the bindu or the yud, the period, right? And these things are all right. So everything is believed to come into existence from one dot, from one small thing. And that dot is believed to be a stone that rised out of the primordial ooze, which is known as the Ben. Now, I ain't meaning to like make you guys want to sit here and take notes, but if you want to take notes, you can look up the primordial ooze and the Ben. You can look up the stone dot, right? And these things are where like creation is supposed to have come from, and all things and all cultures talk about this when they talk, even Christianity, Judaism, and all of that. Like even in ancient Egyptian philosophy as well, they believe that everything started from like one small point. And so then things begin to radiate around it, which gave it more layers and circles. These circles begin to come together. And this is where you get this pattern from. It's called the fisherman's net or the fish's net. My fault.
It comes from. And this
Some of it is actually, parts of it are, you can see the fish's hook here as well. I'll show it to you.
Has deep symbolic significance across many ancient cultures. I've talked about this in other videos about other shows, but not.
Okay, so you have the fisher's hook is right here. Okay, this is the fisher's hook, and this is the fisher's coat right here, the whole entire arc, right? And so this represents Peter, you know. Now Jesus and Mary have been depicted through the Vesica Pisces many, many times. And if you see this, the net and fish right here, this is called the net and fish, or the fisher's net, right? Or the fish net, right? So this right here is what they used to use to create paintings of Jesus and Mary. You know what I'm saying? Like they would create paintings of Jesus and Mary. So a painter would start off with this symbolism right here, this part right here, which is called the Vesica Pisces. This is where also we get the Jesus fish from. The Jesus fish is just the same thing, right? It's the Vesica Pisces, but they altered it. So I know y'all can see my cursor here. So this part here, all right, so then you have all these diamond shapes in here, right? And these diamond shapes are pretty much where they would use these. So they would take this Vesica Pisces here and put this diamond shapes in there, and then they would use that to create the art so that different parts could fall specifically in line to be symmetric with this shape here. This was done, we're talking about thousands of fucking years ago. Like this is what they used to do. This is how they used to draw. This is how they do things even still to this day. So, you know, boom, we've gotten there. So let's keep moving.
Not too much in Severance, but hey, it's the finale, so we're gonna go in. As you can see here, the Vesica Pisces, which is the building blocks for all things and the flower of life, actually creates this waffle pattern. This is known as the fish's net, which refers to the fish created by the secondary connection of the two circles, the Vesica.
That's what I was talking about the Jesus fish. The secondary connection would be the Vesica Pisces itself. The first connection would be this part right here. Okay, so you can see the Jesus fish right here. Like if you look here, you know what I'm saying? You can see that Jesus fish right there, right? But the first connection would be this right here.
Vesica Pisces.
That first connection would be this right here or this right here. You see what I'm saying? These are where the circles touch before they interlace with one another. So that is the other one is Mickey B asked a good question. Thank you for that super chat, sis. She says, so why do they need to put this in shows? Well, the reason why, I'd have to go to another video to show you that. And I might do that. I might really do that. I might go, like, we might go in tonight. I don't know. I am feeling a little tired and shit, but shit, I'm ready to cook. I'm not even gonna lie or hold you. Y'all hear me? I'm talking through this cold. Like, yeah, we here. So we might talk about that. But briefly put, it's pretty much a doorway. It's pretty much a doorway. It represents a portal. You understand what I'm saying? These things are portals. And when you're watching your television, you are, or your phone or whatever you watch medium on, right? Look at it. It's called medium. When you whatever medium you watch it on, right? That's a magical word. Medium is a magical word. Media also as well. Broadcasting is like casting spells broadly, right? Also casting, when you choose the players that are going to be in the show. Also casting those images on the screen. So a lot of this has to do with magic and spell casting. And this is a portal that you go through. Not only that, this is the portal that we all came through, unless you were born through cesarean birth, because this represents the vaginal opening, right? So when you go through the vaginal opening, you're being born into from one world to the next world. You were inside the mother, and the mother is the pathway to the world, right? And so you go through the divine feminine gates, which is the Vesica Pisces. This is why, hold on, let me pull up some symbolism real quick, since we talking here and we going here. You know what I'm saying? Hold up. I'll pull up some Vesica Pisces. Ancient Vesica Pisces symbolism. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Let's share this tab instead real quick. Okay, you guys can see that? Okay, great. Great, we're good. Okay, so as you can see, like this Vesica Pisces is used in art, okay? And what is contained inside of it, you see what I'm saying? They create using the Vesica Pisces. You know what I mean? Hold on, let's here's some Freemason work with it. You know what I'm saying? The Olympics, okay? The Olympics logo is pretty much a bunch of Vesica Pisces, right? Which is crazy because Lumen acknowledges the same amount of countries as the Olympics recognizes. The Olympics recognizes like 206 countries or something like that, and so does Lumen, because that's how many they said they were in. I thought that had something to do with that for sure. But if you look at these ancient pictures of Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Also, the Virgin Mary can be seen inside of the Vesica Pisces. These are all over the world, folks. Like, this isn't anything I'm just making up or talking no bullshit. This represents the yoni. This represents the vaginal opening of which the Christ consciousness comes through, is the vaginal opening. See, women and men are very important, and neither one is useless to the other. Like, you have a lot of these internet freaks trying to like cause turmoil and a tumultuous pathway for men and women. And that, let me tell you something, that's the system trying to take us apart and tear us down. Like, don't let nobody tell you that men are useless. Don't let nobody tell you that women are useless. Both men and women are very much needed in our societies. I mean, that's how we all get here. And so, you know, right now, what I'm noticing is an assault on the relationship between men and women. You know, you have this red pill content, you have this blue pill content, you have this, you know, all these different levels of content that are designed to pretty much cause problems between men and women, which is crazy. It got a lot of dudes out here saying crazy shit about women, and it got a lot of women out here saying crazy shit about men. But don't let them do that to y'all, because we need each other, right? Not only that, they don't play by those rules. They want you to play by those rules. They play by a total different set of rules. This is why they put this shit in our television shows. And you glance over it, but you have to think about how you consume these things. Like, a lot of people binge watch things, which is like this instant gratification that you receive from watching, being able to just skip and go right to the next episode and continuously do that. They're shaping your mind with that, right? And so you have to understand what's being done so that you can do something about it, right? And I think that is what I'm here for. I feel like I feel like my purpose is coming there a little bit. Like, my purpose is to like show people what some of this symbolism is. I didn't know that was going to be something that I wanted to do. I just always enlighten myself with this stuff so that I can teach my children. You know what I mean? However, I mean, we start doing this YouTube stuff, and you know, I really did it to look for more people that looked at shows differently. But now I really want to make people think about what we're watching. And I'm not saying don't watch it at all, because I definitely partake myself. However, I know what I'm looking at, and I think that that is why I'm not affected by a lot of these divisional triggers. Like, that's what I said in one of my rounds before. You know, I was talking to y'all and I was like, what I thought the shit was dope, because it was at a point where I just started like kind of freestyling, where I was like writing these verses like scriptures, painting my vision like pictures. Feel like I've walked into my purpose. The mission is bigger. The vision is clearer. This, that lyric elixir. I'm trying to tell you that the sky is the biggest of mirrors. We flood the streets with a supply of conviction and vigor. When we retreat, we leave behind all the victims and wishes. I hold it up and pay no mind to divisional triggers. The social medias to silence the critical thinkers. Fact checkers, thought police is a better description. We used to learn and come together with different opinions. That's why you take your social conscience to different dimensions. My old head told me I was the coming of vengeance. I beg to differ. My existence is different positions. Like, so like when I write, like that's how I write. I write shit like this. Just let me tell you, every single one of my videos is a rap. You might not notice it, and you might hear some of the bars in there, but like this is the shit that I talk about. This is how I actually live my life. Like all my children were born at home, lotus births. Like I'm not some dude like a Billy Carson just trying to make money off of just telling you some weird shit. Like I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them Dr. Umar type niggas. None of that. I live this shit like this for real. And I don't really like jump out the window and try to show people. And I'm not very transparent. I like my privacy. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like there is a big assault on us, right? And I think that when we watch these television shows, we should be privy to these spells that are being casted in your face because you're taking them in through your eyes and your ears, and it affects the body. This is an actual fact. You have to understand that the body is made up of mostly water. And I don't know about you, but anytime I've seen water reacting to sound, right, it vibrates and it moves. You know what I'm saying? And water can record the things around it. You know what I'm saying? So you are recording these things and you are ingesting these things. And so this is why, you know, I feel like my purpose has changed. Like I feel like I'm trying to be out here enlightening people. You know what I mean? So that's just, you know, and I'm not on no like, you know, better than nobody shit or none of that. I love learning from people. I love being inspired by others, and I love to inspire others. That's why I'm not tripping when like they steal my jokes and my theories, act like they came up with it. It's all good, you know what I'm saying? Like I like to inspire others, but I also like to be inspired by others. You know what I'm saying? So it just works hand in hand. But I'm not going to give them motherfuckers no shine because I think that I think that they did it just because they know that Real is going to get on his live stream and say that I stole his shit and he's going to send his viewers to me. Like I ain't doing that shit. You thought you played me, but I didn't. I'm not doing that shit. And I thought you was my homie. But it is what it is. You know, let's get back to this real quick. So we see this Vesica Pisces symbolism. And this is not a joke. Like here's your flower of life, which has your Vesica Pisces all over it. Here's your Jesus fish right here. You see what I'm saying? That comes directly from that. All right. So I say all of that to say this. This waffle is a reference to the Godhead. Okay. Now let's go back to this joint.
Waffle pattern in many schools of thought is recognized as the cosmic veil between worlds and the matrix of creation, or the invisible framework from which the visible universe emerges from. But
okay, so when you look at it, you know, you have this waffle pattern is really where it's like the unveiled, it's like the hidden veil, pretty much. And all right, I'm gonna just let the video play because I don't want to say nothing that is already gonna be said in the video. Just let me let it play.
We'll get to the Vesica Pisces in a minute because it's also connected to this with Helena. Now, this waffle shape is right in line with the checkered patterns and the Masonic symbolism we've seen in the show at Cobell's Shrine and at Dylan's Waffle Party. Mind you, these two scenes were going on simultaneously in season 1. While Dylan was getting a striptease after eating the waffles, Cobell was in her basement tearing up that shrine by the checkered floor.
Yo, I'm sitting here listening to this shit. I could hear my voice had a cold and shit the whole time. But no, that's facts right there. You go back to season 1, the checkered floor in the Kier's bedroom and by Cobell's shrine was being showed to us at the same time. So this is definitely deliberate, right? Not only that, right? You also had Dylan ate the waffle before this. Now the waffle is the Eucharist for Kier. And looking at Ben Stiller, like what is a waffle? Waffles are mostly circular. I mean, there are square waffles, you know, but waffles are mostly circular and they have the crosshatch in it. That is such a Ben Stiller joke right there for taking a Eucharist, yo. Cause like let me just show you in the video. It's so Ben Stiller, yo. It's crazy.
The waffle pattern symbolizes a net or a trap. We can see this pattern on the ceiling of MDR,
and it's so crazy that the waffle pattern is everywhere on this show, yo. Like it's every fucking where you look around. It's even on, like, we already see it right here on the floor, on the ceiling right there.
Milchick presents Mark with yet another card, and it opens up to a waffle shape. Milchick gave a card to Mark in season 1, but the last time Dylan was chosen to be the subject of the ritual with the same department that we see in this season.
Okay, so I was like, when I first saw Milchick with the marching band and whatnot, I was like, oh, they're gonna give him another dance scene. And yeah, that was what that was, but that's not only what it was. It was definitely to drop some definite symbolism. It was a very good opportunity to drop some symbolism, and that's what they did. They dropped some heat on us, and that's what they've been talking about. They've been sticking to it. Some people don't really think that these people think that deep into their shows when they create them. And if you think that they don't, you got to be fucking kidding yourself, man. They spend millions on one episode. So you definitely better believe that they are putting esoteric thought in there. They're not spending this kind of money just to make a show for some people to like. They don't care about that. They have an agenda. Hollywood is the wood, that magic wands are made with. The strongest magic wands, and allegedly the strongest magic wands, are made from the wood of the holly tree. And so this is why we call it Hollywood. That's why it's called Hollywood. They're definitely casting spells. You know what I'm saying? And they also, at the very minimum, they definitely help to shape your suggestions and ideas about what your worldview is. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Jay Garrick. I mean, what? Season 2 was a $200 million budget. And it's like, where the fuck did they spend $200 million at? Like, no disrespect to them. I'm sure that most of it went to the actors because you had to pay for the talent. But shit, I could have did Severance. on a $10 million budget. Like, no shit, no cap. I'm talking about building the set and everything. You know what I'm saying? Getting all your permits and all of that. You know what I mean? And they won big. You know what I mean? Apple losing $1 billion a year on streaming. And so what does that tell you, fam? What does that tell you? If they're losing that kind of money on streaming, then that means, first of all, it means a couple of things. They don't really care about that money they're losing. They're spending that money that money's well spent because it gets the spells, it casts the spells that they want to cast, right? But it also tells you that they're just trying to sell a phone. They're just trying to sell a technology that you can walk around with. Straight up, even if you buy a used iPhone, you get a free year of Apple TV. So they obviously don't care about, the streaming service as much as they do as the tech, not service, but product. They care more about the tech product than they do about the streaming service. They're giving you a year of the streaming service away if you buy an old one. If you go get an old ass iPhone from a pawn shop, they will, you contact them, get your shit hooked up and everything, and you'll start getting messages for a year free of Apple TV. Obviously, they just want to put the spells out there. And this is every network. They all lose for real. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the overall goal, is not to make money off of these shows. The overall goal is to share these spells, the spell casting, the broadcast. Also, when you look at it, it's also called a channel, like a television channel. And what are we doing? We're channeling these energies. When we transcendentally put ourselves in these characters' places, and when we move, and when we think what we would have done, you're transcendentally putting yourself in the character space. But let's move along.
E&M, or choreography and merriment. This is no doubt the same department with those dancers at Dylan's waffle party. We saw the choreography, but we didn't get to see the merriment. The ceiling in MDR isn't the only place we see this pattern. We saw it in the drawings of Cobell's Severance tech as well.
All right, so boom. Like, even look at the doily that the plate is sitting on. You see what I'm saying? The doily is woven. Now, waffle actually comes from a word that means woven or to weave, right? That's what the word waffle comes from. Waffle actually comes from the word waba, that means honeycomb. And we're going to get to that as well.
See this pattern. We saw it in the drawings of Cobell's Severance tech as well. Cobell.
I also want to point out real quick that this waffle pattern is everywhere, and it actually plays a significant part in the Severance technology itself. Obviously, it's in the plans. It's in the woman's drawings right there. So let's keep it moving.
Those drawings were a connection to the pineal gland. In her drawings, she illustrated the Cartesian space, which is a coordinate system created by René Descartes. René Descartes is also who is known for coining the term seat of the soul when referencing the pineal gland. The goat's cage coining the term.
I want to be clear here, right? That René Descartes, this is his, this light drawing here, this is his. Cobell was making these same kind of drawings and everything. She was doing the same thing as his. Matter of fact, this is the eye right here. She draws the eye. She also draws a head with these lines talking about the perspective lines, right? And so they definitely channeled some René Descartes with this.
Seat of the soul.
Not only that, René Descartes is the person who said the seat of the soul. And so look at how Mark jumps down into the seat of his head in the intro credits. Shout out my brother, Highly Dedicated, in the building. Highly Dedicated pulled up on me in LA. We had a really good time. You know what I'm saying? He was on the live stream before we linked up. And he said, "Yo, I want to link up with you." Bum bum bum. You know, I ain't no scary dude. So like, I'm like, yeah, let's link, bro. You know what I'm saying? I just felt the energy right there. But we linked up. We had a good time. That brother's cool. He actually came to the Paley Fest with us, and he had a ticket. We went in. We had a great time. I appreciate that brother right there.
When referencing the pineal gland, the goat's cage is also symbolic of a net or a trap and might be the most obvious.
I mean, look at the goat's cage. You know what I'm saying? The goat's cage. There's your waffle pattern and your cross hatches all over again. It's all over this show, no doubt about it.
Usage of this symbolism in the episode, along with the pattern on the wall in the goat sacrificing room. The waffle shape, also known as a tessellation, is.
You see the waffle shape all over the room. You know what I'm saying? Now here it is. We talk about the tessellations. Check this out.
Tessellation used in the show. We also see the hexagon and bees reference along with Kier's head on a bee and the beehive protocol. Now the two are very much different, but they're also very much the same, and they are definitely connected in etymology. Walk with me for a minute. Let's break down the etymology of the word waffle. Waffle derived from Frankish or Proto-Germanic roots, and it is related to the word waba, which means honeycomb. It's also connected to the word weffen in Old English, meaning to weave. Now, like I said, the waffle is representation of the hidden veil. And we saw Mark holding a woven blanket over his head. And I spoke about this in my episode 3 breakdown, how he had the hidden veil behind the light. Mark pulling up to some kind of barn building.
This is me in my season 3 breakdown.
How long the after image can stay in his mind's eye. We see him put the cover over his head and shine the light. This symbolic light under the veil represents a spiritual enlightenment. Mark is literally trying to ask his inner self a question, or ask his inner self to enlighten him on who is alive. So at its
so totally all the way, right? Like, I was on that back in season 3. I was telling you that they were showing you the veil when Mark puts a woven blanket over his head, right? Why use a woven blanket if you're trying to trap the light inside, right? That's crazy. But he uses a woven blanket, which is obviously intentional. You know, it's not like they were on the set and they said, hey, we need a blanket for Mark to put over his head. And somebody said, well, I got one in the car. No, they intentionally put a woven blanket in this man's car when he puts it over his head. That is the veil, okay? If you think that these people are not doing this, you are out your mind. What Don say right here? Skeeter, I'm actually a teacher of media literacy, so I have so many. Reels is on it. Reception theory is present, relevant here. My fave theory thing I would look at first is the nature of the episodic television. Oh yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Lisa as well for the super chat. Thank you so much. She said, I did a crochet like that doily, my fault, doily, and the pineapple motif. So, oh, okay. So you did like a pineapple surrounded by those grids. That's fire. That's fire. Like, yeah. Xi said, wafer. Most definitely. We get to that. Let's go.
Its core, waffle means honeycomb, and honeycombs are made of wax. And I think it was very intentional to have Milchick point out that the animatronic Kier was made of wax. Also, the item that Cobell stole from Mark's basement was a wax candle. Now, wax is malleable and shapeable, and it holds imprints. And it's used for seals to hold sacred or legal power. It's also made into candles.
Okay, so we talked about, I know I've talked about like the legal system before, and when it comes to this type of symbolism, because they use it all the time, like like uh like the prosecutor, right? So the prosecutor in a case is the person that tutors the pro se. The pro se is the defendant or whatever, right? So that is the pro se. So when you are there, pro se means proper person, right? So that's the prosecutor. So like these things are definitely there, whether you believe in them or not. All right, so for instance, when you look at the courtroom itself, the courtroom mirrors the king's court. It also mirrors the church sanctuary, okay? And when it, even if you believe in this or not, you're participating in it. It doesn't matter. Like you can be like, yo, this guy's totally off his rocker. But when you sign your signature, which is your sign of nature, when you create the word signature or spell the word signature, spell is when you create a word, it's called spelling, right? And so when you spell the word signature, you're using two words, which is sign and nature, right? So what that means is your signature written in cursive. Curse is another magic word, right? Curse is a binding spell, okay? And when you write your signature on that shit, it magically binds you to whatever you put your signature on. I could take a piece of paper with some bullshit on it, whatever. You put your signature on it, it magically makes this a document that is like waxed. It's sealed. And the wax is a sealing of documents, whether they were very spiritual, legal documents, you know what I'm saying? Many different things wax can be used for when you're talking about alchemy, because wax can take the form, wax can take the shape. And also wax is what holds the light during spiritual rituals and candles. So let's move along.
Candles, which are the light carriers in spiritual rituals. Wax equals the medium through which energy and tension is formed and carried. Think of a wax seal on a parchment or wax molds used in magic. This is a form of impression alchemy. And the same is true for waffles, which are dough imprinted with a sacred or a geometric grid. From here on out, we're going to call that statue Kier wax. Now, Kier inviting you to drink of his water is giving heavy Eucharist vibes. And this connection to the waffle is a connection to bread, in which the wine and bread are symbolic of the flesh and blood. Now, a wafer is used as the taking of flesh, and waffle and wafer are 100% linguistically and symbolically connected. Waffle and wafer both come from that Germanic Frankish word waba, which means honeycomb. Both are either a thin baked pattern cake or.
And peep how the wafers typically come with this crosshatch on them, okay? So this is symbolic of, where does this crosshatch come from? We talked about it. It comes from the Vesica Pisces. I showed you how we got that, right? Boom.
Bread. A wafer is a holy sacrament in Christianity. The wafer is the Eucharist, or the body of Christ. It's thin, round, and imprinted usually with a crosshatch or a
Now, as you can see, Vesica Pisces are also imprinted on these wafers. And these wafers are taken as the body of Christ, the Eucharist, right? So this is what that represented when they were eating the waffle. When Dylan ate the waffle, he was then sent to the founder's bed, right? And then he was actually to put on the mask of the founder. You see what I'm saying? I don't know how far that was supposed to go. Like, what was supposed to happen in that room? Like, if he would have stayed in there and went to initiate the OTC, what if he would have stayed in there? Was he supposed to whip them? Was he supposed to sex them? Whatever. Like, I don't know. Was that gonna turn into a orgy or something? I don't know. Imagine, imagine Dylan. Nah, don't imagine that. But he's got the fucking Kier head on, and this is going on. Like, it was super weird. Like, we thought it was weird as shit. I know that was a twist. I totally didn't expect that. Take yourself back and remember when you first saw that episode. I believe it was episode 8. Take yourself back to episode 8 when Dylan was sitting there and they said, go to the founder's bed. I bet none of you knew that those motherfuckers the Tempers was going to come out there and do a strip tease. Nobody saw that coming. Shit, I know I didn't.
a sacred symbol, like the Vesica Pisces. It represents divine embodiment through bread, but most wafers have that crosshatch on it. The waffle is also imposed with the crosshatch, and it becomes a secularized sacred pattern that makes the waffle essentially the profound cousin of the wafer, and it still carries that patterned imprint. Both bear the mark of something deeper woven into the dough. And Lumen uses the waffle party as an initiation ritual, which one is chosen by a chief, who in the first season it was Mark, and he had chose Dylan to be the first recipient that lifted the veil ritual. Remember, the veil is the waffle pattern, and when Dylan finishes eating or consuming that ritual flesh, he is instructed to go to the bed where he is to mask himself as the actual deity figure, and he's to receive this ritual with the dance and the whip. And who knows how far this thing was supposed to go, because I mean, Dylan had a plan, but what was he supposed to do? Whip them, or, what else with him, Now, this would be a perfect time to go over that Vesica Pisces symbolism, Helena, Heli, or Helene, if you will, and Cobell's hand gestures. First, we have to establish what the word gesture really means.
This hand gesture right here is crazy, y'all. This is the Yoni mudra. And she's totally, you can see her fingers in the middle are curled as well. So she's doing the Yoni mudra. And she looks like she's holding something as well. I don't know. Something there she's holding. We seen it in her hand at one point. I gotta go back and find that, but I didn't put that in here. But we got tons of Severance content to do while we wait on the next season for sure. It's gonna be in there. I'm gonna get to it. But this is called the Yoni mudra. Mudras are hand symbols.
Gesture means to carry something, and the word is also
gesture means to carry something, like gestation, gesture. It means to carry, right? And it's related to fertility in the carrying of a child, the gestation period, right? The 9 months.
linked to fertility.
Oh, by the way, season 3, they are going to reveal that I was right about the quarters being 9 months apiece. Yeah, there's no way that they're using the traditional 3-month quarter, because if they were using the traditional 3-month quarters, Lumen would still go back to before Kier was even born. So yeah, they're not using the 3 months, they're using the 9 months, because the 9 months they got like 8,000 quarters or some shit like that, or I forget how many exactly, 800 quarters or something like that. But it takes us right back to when the Templars were disbanded. And when the Templars were disbanded, they were absorbed by other secret societies and other actual professions, right? Because yeah, it is what it is. We'll go.
Fertility, as in carrying a child or gestation. Now, the hand symbolism that we see Kobel perform is the yoni or womb mudra, and she held this symbol by her womb while standing in front of the man who has potentially impregnated Helene. Holding the
Now, I think that it has a double meaning. You know what I'm saying? I think that it actually has a double meaning. I think it has to do something with being that she was talking to Mark, right? I believe that um first of all, let's get into what Lumen does, right? Lumen isn't just this company with the severance shit, right? They deal in actual rituals. I mean, look at Sissy and the Cobell shrines. Look at the words that they use, the vernacular. These people are doing goat sacrifices. They are modeling themselves after Haitian voodoo, right? What I believe happened. Now, I talked about Kier in the time of Kier was the rising and emergence of the snake oil salesman. These people used to make tons of fucking money, and they would start these big companies and they would get involved with politicians. But the problem was many people would get sick from medicines and stuff from these people that they would purchase and buy. And what happened was politicians realized that they had to make some sort of consumer protection laws because these snake oil salesmen were making millions of dollars. And in that time, millions of dollars was huge, right? That millions of dollars wasn't nothing to laugh at back then. You know what I'm saying? $100,000 wasn't nothing to laugh at back then. Now today, $100,000 is not much money. You know what I mean? Shit, you you can go to the grocery store with $100 today, and you don't even need a buggy. You don't even need to get a buggy for the shit that $100. You go to the store for $100, and you do not need no buggy. Damn near, you probably wouldn't even need one of them baskets at this grocery store with $100 today. But back then, yeah, that was some money. And these guys was making millions of dollars, and they was poisoning people. And so consumer protection laws had to be created. However, these snake oil salesmen by then had amassed fortunes where they were able to put politicians in their pockets. And so they were able to do things outside of the normal parameters of what me and you have to abide by. And so that's what happened, right? I see y'all talking about that $100 at the grocery store. Yeah, you $100 at the grocery store, you can't even buy the ingredients to make homemade waffles. Like, what the fuck?
The symbol in this position right by the womb is flexing the divine feminism, which is linked to the sacred chalice or the Holy Grail.
Now we have the sacred information or the sacred knowledge. We have here the Ark of the Covenant, and we also have the Holy Grail, which represents the woman's womb, right? Because the woman's womb, the uterus, is shaped like a cup, right? So I brought this out I used to talk about this all the time in my From stuff because they talk about it as well. And my sis Mickey B asked a real good question, like, why do they put that in these shows? It's because, like I said, they are walking through real nine is a quarter of 36. That's 666. Yo, I'm telling you. And also 666 was in the episode Chikai Bardo. There were like 6 was mentioned 3 times, like specifically. You know what I'm saying? So we cooking over here. I already know. Like I know what time it is. Like I know I'm not bugging with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like some people think I'm bugging, some people think I'm reaching, but that's all they really say. They be like, yo, you're schizophrenic. Yo, you're reaching. Yo, I think you're thinking too much into this. But they never have any real pushback. It's always like some kind of ad hominem attack. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're bugging. But they never have like anything, like they don't have a viable argument against it. They just don't agree with it. And so they call you names and shit. When a motherfucker start calling you names, they already lost the conversation. They already lost. Because once they start calling you names and they can't talk anything about the information that you dropping, means that they don't really have any reason to fight what you're saying. So they just have to call you a name. It's like you fuck their brain up for a second. They can't really think. So the only thing they could think of is calling you a name or insulting you, which is corny as hell to me, in my opinion. Like I've never just called somebody crazy for a theory about a fucking TV show, right? I've never done that. I don't think I mean, if I push back on somebody's theory, I push back. And I don't call them a name. I don't try to discredit them as a person or do any of that kind of stuff. I actually say, well, this wouldn't work maybe because of this. Or then if you're saying that it's this, then what about this? Like, so I'm actually asking questions and actually giving some thought behind it. But it is what it is. People going to be how they're going to be. Some people are very close-minded when it comes to this kind of shit. And it just makes me laugh sometimes, to be honest with you. Go ahead.
Which is the vessel of knowledge. And we've heard them use the term vessels when talking about sexual contact. And in that same episode, we saw Mark take a drink from the vessel before falling into Chikai Bardo. This inverted
My fault. My fault. Here we are. Here we are. All right. So, like I was going to say here, hold on. I got a text message. Audio. Yeah. I got it. No problem. I had muted myself because I started coughing and I didn't want to, I didn't want to be coughing in y'all ear and shit. But we back. We good. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, pardon me. Everybody that doesn't know, like I got a cold right now. I came back from LA. It was cold as shit in Atlanta. And like I got a cold. And that kind of, slowed me down on making my video. Already I was in LA, but I got the video out, you know what I'm saying? And we here now. We good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't even remember what I was saying. Let's just keep going.
triangle could be speaking on Helene or both her and Cobell. Cobell being the creator of the Severance tech and being close to Jane, they was probably messing around or something. So that would put her on the same vein as Helene. And Helene being the next in line for the throne and Cobell being the creator of the Severance technology would make her symbolically the Shekinah. Shekinah is the divine presence in Kabbalistic and Jewish mysticism. Shekinah is the bride of...
Food Pyramid said you need that reintegration juice from Dr. Ragabi. Hey, yo, that shit look like some that shit look like some spoiled ramen water with goddamn Dr. Sabi's sea moss in that bitch. Like, get that the fuck out of here. That shit look like dumpster milk.
Tiferet, but more importantly, mentioned in the Talmud, is referred to as God's indwelling presence and represented justice to the people. The Shekinah left the temple at its destruction and went exile with Israel. Now, the Talmud uses the feminine verbs and forms when referencing the Shekinah. And even though Judaism is not polytheistic, this aspect personifies a feminine side of God. And her doing this hand gesture is totally connecting her current situation with the Shekinah and also Helene's journey. This also ties into the Sophia symbolism. And the divine feminine aspect of this tells me that season 3 will definitely reveal the pregnancy of Helene and the imprisonment of Mark. Now,
hey, yo, I feel like I want to just call her Hell Any for like, I want to call her Helene. Like, Hell Any. Like, I've been saying that, like, ever since Mark called her that, I chuckled. Like, I chuckled a chuckle like I never chuckled. Like, when he called her Helene, it was just so funny to me. I don't know why that tickled me so much. You know what I'm saying? The Helene thing had me rolling. The tin of candies had me rolling. When Helly said, "What do you want from me? What the fuck do you want from me?" When James started walking away, that shit was funny. But we definitely calling her Helene from now on. When I want to be specific about Helly, or when I want to be specific about Helena, I will do that. But Helene is funny as hell. Yes, yes, indeed, Katie. I chuckled a chuckle that I never chuckled for sure. That shit had me rolling. I had to pause it real quick when he called her Helene. You know what I'm saying? It was funny.
Now, on this channel, I've been the only one talking about Kier in the snake oil period, the Masonic origins of Lumen, Kier's involvement with the circus, carnival circuits, and how that ties into the current medical industry. I also brought up the radio broadcasting and political radio ads and how ether was put into products even back then. I spoke about all of this before the Salt's Neck episode and have been saying this since episode 1, actually. And I have to tell you that this episode did not disappoint in giving these theories some credence. The scene with Kierwax and Milchick going back and forth was a direct reference to medicine shows. Medicine shows were traveling entertainment plus sales pitches. They were part carnival, part vaudeville, and part scam. They'd feature comedy duos, singing and dance, magic tricks, and over-the-top sales pitches. These were the first mountebanks of the 19th and 20th centuries of America. Let's not forget how Irv literally calls Milchick a mountebank in
Yo, so now Kier and Milchick going back and forth, that was definitely on some medicine show type shit. I don't see the snake oil salesman and everything. All of that ties right into the medicine shows. Okay, the medicine shows. Let me show you what medicine shows look like. Hold on. Let me see something real quick. All right. Boom. Here we are with the medicine shows. Okay. Medicine shows was where they used to have a dude standing there talking to somebody, and somebody out of the crowd would heckle him back and forth. They would heckle back and forth. Then they would have, and notice that this is a carnival. Notice that these medicine shows, matter of fact, when I was talking about the snake oil salesman period, I was looking up medicine shows to find the visuals. Like, this is one of the pictures that I used. Boom. You got snake oil liniment. Okay, snake oil liniment, right? So this salve and liniment, this is the kind of shit that your boy, look, snake oil, okay? This is the kind of shit that your boy Kier was selling. This is what it looked like back in the day. This is what that stuff would have looked like. Imagine Kier selling his skin salve. That's what this was. And I'm sure his skin salve had, look, wizard oil, okay? Definitely, this is what was going on back then. Not to mention, right, during this time, after the Civil War, right, the National Banking Act was created as well. And this is what brought our like currency to a new plateau. And I think that a lot of the symbolism that we're seeing in television for the last 5 years are telling us that something very new is about to happen with currency and money. Okay. And I've been talking about this since like last year on From Situation, right? And I talked about how I'm sure they're going to have something happen with the money system here in America and all over the world, right? Because America set the standard with the new banking system. Okay. And it was during the time of the snake oil salesman. All right. Here's some actual pictures from back in them times, stagecoaches and whatnot. This is the type of shit Kier was into. This is the type of shit that Kier had to be down with, you know? And what him and Milchick did was like a Laurel and Hardy kind of deal, like an Abbott and Costello kind of situation. Vaudeville, right? All of these are what used to drive this time period when Kier was alive. And it was no surprise that they had literally Kier there. I'm telling you, I didn't put that in the video before that about the medicine shows because I totally didn't think that we were going to see a medicine show, but we literally did. Not to mention the marching bands and everything would come out at some of these shows. I mean, you can see that some of these like shows were actually a part of circuses, right? These shows were actually a part of circuses. And we see that Kier actually had a circus of his own called the Carnival, right? You can't, let me see. Right here in the corner, you can see Kier's face as a clown. And this word right here is Carnival. And it's a word play on the word carnival, right? And so, no doubt to me, Kier was involved
Episode
with
4.
that snake oil
I have been
salesman
talking
theory.
about this all season, and I have to shout out Big Heck for finding this gem of the actual actor Mark Geller, who plays Kier, saying this in an interview on the Sci-Fi Visions YouTube page. Go check out her page. She has all the scoop and gets all the dope interviews. But check this out. Check out what he says.
In my mind, and again, this is based on nothing but my mind, I get the impression that turn of the century Kier was kind of a snake oil salesman, a little bit of a, a little bit of a con artist building this company.
Now, if you've been watching,
Hey, yo, I want to say this again. Shout out to Big Hack for showing that to me. You know what I'm saying? He saw the interview with Mark Geller. I didn't get a chance to see it. I try to watch her interviews whenever. I know she posts them in my Discord a lot. And she's a very respectful sister. She does her thing. She's got all the scoop. You know what I'm saying? She gets those interviews with the actors and the creators and stuff like that. And I totally fuck with her real heavy. Go, like, I don't see enough people at her channel for me. Like, go rock with her videos. She's really good. She's really rocking it out with these interviews, and she does a great job. You know what I'm saying? I know that as a matter of fact, Debbie was in the building at that interview as well. She watched that interview, and she told me that she said it right in the comments right after he said it, that Real has been talking about that. Now, I've definitely been talking about that. I wonder if bro actually watches my channel. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Deron, thank you for so much. Real has too many W's. I've lost count. Yo, don't you worry, because I'm about to do a audit. I'm about to do an audit video to show y'all all this stuff. Everybody was up there talking about Miss Wong was one of Gemma and Mark's daughter and all of this shit. I told y'all from the very beginning that she went to the same school that Milchick and Cobell and all of them went to. Matter of fact, since I don't know if y'all believe me or not, let's go look at it real quick. I said this already. Let's do a short audit real quick, y'all. Where we at? This is the video y'all need to go watch right here. Who's channeling who? The shocking rituals hidden in binge watching. You got to watch that video right there. It's not a lot of views on it. That's cool. There's another one with not a lot of views on it. That's cool. It doesn't bother me about the views. But the information is key. I might have even, I even mentioned the snake oil situation in my very first video before the season started. Before the season even started, I was on this. But this video right here definitely talks about Miss Wong being one of them kids. Hold up.
it actually should be. Besides, what one and any know about cross
Yeah, here it is. Look.
severed either? Milchick says the first new character day because you see him unpacking his stuff. And Miss Wong.
This is my first, y'all see it right here. Severance season 2, episode 1 explained. I said it back then.
who's one of the new characters, who's actually being played by a little girl, says that it was her first day as supervisor. I don't think she's severed either. Milchek says that he isn't, and even though Harmony Cobell has a split persona, she isn't severed either. Maybe they keep the management whole, and Mrs. Wong probably attended the same school that Miss Cobell did. She stated that she was a crossing guard before this, but that could mean something totally different than what you may think it is. Just like the break room means something else than what it actually should be. Besides, what wouldn't any know about crossing guards anyway? None of them even bothered to ask what it was. That radical group that was passing out flyers did say that Lumen was testing on children, but the severance procedure leaves a split version of the person's mind. And I don't think that they would insert someone with a childlike mind as management. I mean, this girl's already a child, but it does seem like she's been brought up in the ways of Keir Egan. Milchek probably attended some sort of Lumen-funded school as well. And what if he started working there when he was around the same age? And the students in these various schools are prepped in various positions of management. And
boom. I mean, I was dead on with that. Like, I was spot on with that. I even talked about how Milchek went to the school, Cobell went to the school. Everybody was looking at the sister of Asian descent and automatically just tying her to Gemma because she's of Asian descent. And I don't know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But yo, I think I nailed that one. Like, hold on, let me see. Let me see what else we got real quick. Yeah, I would go through and just like do a quick little audit real quick because I can pick out like 10 things that I said in my first 2 Severance videos that came to fruition. Like real shit, especially in the Severance Decoded video. Go check out the Severance Decoded video. I did this video before the season even started. I was talking about the snake oil salesman, the whole nine. Like there was a bunch of shit that I said in there. But yeah, we'll talk about all that later. But let me see. Let me get back to that one video. Hold up. Damn, I lost my spot, y'all. It was something else in here that I seen somebody talking about that y'all wanted to mention. Hold on, let me see if I can find it for y'all. Oh, here it is. This was very important. These people are doing goat sacrifices every time a file is finished. Why would they have so many goats? Why would they need so many goats if they were just doing it like after he finished Cold Harbor or whatever? Nah, every time a file get finished, like let's examine this for a second, right? Every time a file is finished, what did we see when Dylan finished his file? The Tumwater joint. I think it was the Tumwater joint, right? When he finished that, what happened? Somebody got a waffle. A card was given by Milchek, right? That card is an initiation card, right? They're trying to initiate you into a ritual. Boom. Dylan goes and eats the bread, which represents the Eucharist, the body of Keir. And then he has to go assume the position of Keir in his bed with a mask on, right? And so we seen the same thing. Mark gets a waffle envelope with a waffle in it. And I'm sure that just like there was a goat sacrifice during Mark's waffle, so-called waffle party or initiation, there was one sacrificed when Dylan was there. One of the biggest questions we all had was, what are they doing with the goats? And it should have just been simple. Like we should have been peeped that shit. You know what I mean? In a real way though. Like when you look at it, we should have just looked at them as for what it is. Goats are sacrificial animals. And that's what they're doing with them. Nothing more, nothing less.
Resemble Haitian voodoo shrine. I also talked about Sissy and Cobell wearing a white bathing suit. Right? Cobell was dressed as a nurse. All Kabbalistic teachings and Jewish mysticism, Hermeticism, voodoo, all baked into this episode. The nurse wore white. Cobell was dressed.
Oh, for the person in the comments that said that I have not mentioned Hermeticism, I did mention Hermeticism. I've mentioned Hermeticism several times throughout all my videos, but I did mention it in this video.
As a nurse and wore white as well. Sissy wore white and acted as a nurse for Harmony's mother, and Helena wore a white bathing suit. I spoke about Sissy's and Cobell's shrines and how they resemble Haitian voodoo shrines. I also talked about Sissy and Cobell wearing white and some other symbolism. Go check out my Salt's Neck video. And for the record, I think that they're sacrificing a goat for every file finished, and maybe even for other tasks completed in other departments. I mean, that's why there's so many goats. Think about it. Every time a file gets completed, the mammalians have to give up a sacrifice. That would explain why this guy was freaking out when he was given the goat milk in the husbandry tank and Helly and Mark were there. He thought that they were trying to take them away and probably be sacrificed or something.
Yo, enjoy 100%. I believe the same thing. I've said this in another video before, that I think that the mill chicks are like a family that's been down with Lumen for generations, probably. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've said that already in Mr. Milchick, and I said it because of the in the Lexington letter, you had Jim Milchick, right? And I also, it's kind of what led me to believe that Gretchen was probably messing around with Milchick, because one of their kids is named Jim. And I'm thinking like, okay, so the Lexington letters takes place 4 years before the events of season 1. So 4 years before the events of season 1 would be right when okay, so that's when Rickon and Devin moved into Gantz, right? Because they live in Gantz. They live like not far from Kier. They live in Gantz, but it's outside of the city or whatever. But okay. The boss, the reporter's boss, who wanted to just quash the story, his name was Jim Milchick. And so Jim, with that same name being Jim and all of that, like, yeah. And the fact that they really made it a point to tell us, mention several times, that Dylan had a son named Jim. Then they also made it a point to show us that old girl was on a first name basis with Seth. Then we never saw them talk. We never saw them talk. When Milchick went to fire Dylan, he stayed outside. His wife probably wasn't there because it was nighttime, or she probably went off to work. You know, you also had, when he came to rehire him and ask him to come back, Milchick stayed outside again. So when did he talk to Gretchen? When did Milchick talk to Gretchen? Because before the whole shit in episode 1, Milchick tells Dylan, like, yo, you got a wife, bro, and her name is Gretchen. She wanted you to know her name. Like, so when did that happen? And how did all of this happen? Why is it all an off-screen thing? Why is that a situation like that? That was my thing about it. So, you know, I could be wrong. We could be wrong. Who knows? But I think you hit the nail on the head with them being a Lumen family. I think that they are definitely have been in league with Lumen for quite some time. You know what I mean? Yeah. And shout out to Joy. The beautiful Joy is in the building. I saw what she said. I saw 100 baby goats being ritually sacrificed when I was in India in 2016. They were eaten the next day. Yes. Yes, indeed. Goats are a sacrificial animal, and they like goats and lambs and things of that nature are sacrificial animals because they represent humans' lower self. You know what I mean? Goats used to be depicted as humans at one point. Like, you could, even the Baphomet is a depicted human goat. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, there's something about goat physiology and goat blood that is very similar to humans, right? And so that's where I believe that comes in. My thing is, how the fuck did people way back then, like thousands of years ago, even know that, right? How did they know about the Kundalini energy with the double serpent going up the spine. How did they know about that? Because the double helix wasn't even discovered until 1953. I forget the name of the bull that discovered the double helix. If anybody knows, drop that in the comments. But I was always floored off of that. You know what I'm saying? And he says, thank you for the super chat, by the way. My burning question is when and where the fuck are we? Yo, you know what? I want to answer that question, but I'm not sure of what you're referring to. Like, where are we in the show, or when and where are we? Because you know what? This is a perfect time to address something that I said in my videos a while back, and I was getting some pushback on it. And I told y'all that we are in the false year of 2025. And some people didn't understand what I meant by that. And what I mean by that is literally, it's not 2025. This is our fiscal 2025. And I abide by it. Like if I was to write today's date, I would put 2025 down there. That's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying like, and this is not the new, like January isn't the new year either. Like the middle of winter when things are still dead, no leaves on the tree, that's not New Year. I celebrate New Year in a couple of days, actually, on April 1st. That's when I celebrate the New Year. And the reason why I celebrate the New Year on April 1st is because that is the day that everything is new. That is when our spring is here. That is when we start seeing the bees come out. That's when we start seeing the dandelions show themselves again. That's when everything becomes new. That's when everything begins to be green once again. And most of the world used to abide by this type of natural calendar. Humans realized a long time ago that there are 13 moons in a year, right? And actually the word moon, the word month actually comes from the word moon, right? And it was a counting of the moon. You know what I'm saying? Let's put it like this. If I gave you a ruler and the ruler had like 1 inch was an inch, and then the 2-inch was like a little bit more, a little bigger than the last inch, and then the 3rd inch was smaller than the 1st inch, and the 4th inch was longer than the 2nd inch, and all of these inches were different, you would look at me like, bro, what the fuck is this, man? This is not a fucking ruler, bro. It's the same thing with our calendar. You got 31 days, 28 days, sometimes it's 29 days, then you got 30 days, then 31 days, then 30 days, then 31 days. Like it's not accurate. It's not an accurate calendar. And it was changed by Julius Caesar, right? And the original calendar went by the months, right? A woman has 13 periods every year, right? And also we have 13 moons every year, but they changed it. It was changed. And it's shown in our system. When you look at the word September, right? Sept means 7. However, September is the 9th month, right? Oct means 8. OCT, October means 8, but October is the 10th month. Nov means 9, but November is the 11th month. Dec means 10, but December is the 12th month. Why? It's because the calendar was altered, right? And so the current fiscal year that we live in is right and exact and it's accurate. However, the natural calendar is been dismayed. We don't follow the natural calendar anymore. And the natural calendar is the calendar that we should follow. Why? Because we have 13 months. You know, because we have 13 moons. We have 13 months because we have 13 moons. So this means that a month is only 28 days. Okay. And as a matter of fact, women have their period every 28 days. This gives us 13 equal months. So why do we have this like calendar that's spread out all over the place? I think that it was a ploy to change reality in people's minds. We've been going by this false calendar, and that's why I say that we're in the false year of 2025. Now, like I've done it before. We can do the math if you want to. If you really want to sit down, I might do that in the members only joint. but we could sit down and do the math on like what year it would really be. And so I've done it before, and there are several different answers that you could come up with depending on how many times you take into account they've actually changed the calendar. Like the July was put there by Julius Caesar, right? Because it was meant to represent Julius, right? So they called that month July. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was just breaking that down just so like here's the things, right? The popes and Caesar changed shit, right? So shout out to Scotty for that. Hold up. Where the comment go? Yeah, Scotty. Scotty said that. Where that, Scotty? There you are. Yeah, popes and Caesars changed shit. And that's why we're not in the natural calendar that we existed in when people started actually counting time and counting how many moons went by throughout that year procession. So yeah, we are in the false year 2025, and I stand on that. You know what I'm saying? There are other cultures in India actually that go by a lunar calendar, right? And they're not in the year that we're in. They have a whole different year. I remember I used to work for this Indian family, and I went over their crib one time, and they had their little girl was out there in the driveway. They had this huge driveway, could fit like 100 cars in it. And she had she had this large rack of chalk, different colored chalks. And she was drawing like all of the months in the driveway. It was the coolest fucking thing I'd ever seen a little kid do. And like she had all of these how the months go and the different deities and stuff all in the driveway. I wish I would have took pictures of that shit. They told me not to take a picture of it, and I was wondering why. But she was like, "Nah, don't take pictures of my daughter's stuff and shit like that." I was like, "Oh, okay, no problem." You know what I'm saying? He was kind of being a dick about it, but it was fire. I was like, "Man." But it wrapped around the whole driveway, and it like pretty much showed the procession of a year. And shit was deep. It opened my mind, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, like Mickey B said I'm really like 25 or something. Nah, for real. Like there's 13 moons. There's 13 moons. That's where we get the word month. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. People might not subscribe to that. Might not believe that. I'm free to have the discussion with anybody. Matter of fact, I'm gonna open up the panel. And if anybody if you agree with me, you can come on up. But I'd love to get somebody that has some pushback on anything that I have to say. I'd love to entertain entertain the chat with a live discussion about this kind of stuff. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and put the link down in there. Just and like we're gonna do this like we've been doing it. I'll bring one person up, we'll have a discussion, then boom, we'll get to the next person. We're gonna keep these real short though. We're not gonna have people down there being waiting and stuff. And I appreciate you guys for jumping through, and everybody has been very patient. Like I've never seen nobody like leave out the chat or out the back room and not come back. Like if somebody leaves, they always come back. Yeah, we've had some real dope people come in. But yeah, DJ Rush, shout out to DJ Rush. DJ Rush said real is right and exact with this. Of course. Like, I mean, you could argue like you could say that how the fuck does somebody change a calendar? Like, isn't the calendar counting the precession of the sky? Isn't that what that is? Isn't that what time is? Isn't that what time is? Like everywhere it's 12 o'clock when the sun is right above your head. So how does somebody just feel like they could come along and change that? And if they change it, are we in the real scope of time that we were in when they changed it? Hell no. Because if you take, the Gregorian calendar is a hoax, most definitely. It's a veil. It's a veil that's been pulled over our eyes. You know what I'm saying? Here go that link, y'all. Here go that link. I know somebody want to come up and rap. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's talk. You know what I'm saying? Yo, yeah. Code Knox says men lie, women lie. Do numbers lie too? Yeah, if you change them. You can get the numbers to lie. You can definitely change things. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. The Roman Empire controlled a lot. Oh, most definitely. They were able to change the way people saw time and perceived time. If you got 13 months in a year and you drop it down to 12 months and 100 fucking years goes by, you ain't in the same year no more. You ain't in the, you're not right exact in the year that you are. 100 years is gone by with a month missing. So let's just, I mean, it is what it is. We got Food Pyramid come through. What's going on, Food Pyramid? How you?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Real. I'm good. I'm good. Oh man, I feel like I'm still in a whirlwind from last week of the episode. I haven't even done a full rewatch of it, like season 2 yet. I got to get back to that, but just want to say I thank you a lot for like having me on the past couple of times as well. And then I feel like, yeah, if people missed the waffle stuff, kind of, I know it sounded a little out there, but I felt like I was right there with you, like nodding on everything you were saying in the episode. There's so like again, there's so many things to touch on with this season. It's crazy, but I think my big guesses for the beginning of season 3 is Mark is basically he swapped uh Helena for Gemma, right? And you know when Miss Cabell says she's like, you know, it's not going to be when they're in the retreat or whatever. She says it's not going to be good for Heliar or something like that. So I think that's where we're at, right? Like she's going to be the next file that I think Mark works on.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you a question. What are your thoughts about the goats? Did they answer your question? Because a lot of people feel like they didn't answer the question about the goats, and I think that the goats are simply just sacrificial animals. What do you think?
I agree with you there because I think that's what the whole show has been doing to everybody, right? You watch like all these opinions and all these like posts online, and everyone's kind of going like I think a little too far sometimes with their like what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next, and you got to like sometimes pull it back down a little bit, right? It's like the goats were just as simple as sacrifice. When you look at that room, well, there was like the symbolism on the, you know, around the goat on where it was contained, and you know, people thought it was going to be like way crazier on some other theories, but it's like I said, I'm still like trying to like get my head wrapped around the whole thing. But yeah, I think it's the same thing with like when you're talking about people missing the snake oil salesman stuff, and Milchick I think represents that like
Oh, wait a
actually
minute.
really well.
Hold on, brother. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait.
Yeah,
Is that Ball is Life in the building? Holy shit, yo. Ball is Life is in the building, y'all. Ball is Life is in the building. Ball is Life is like 4 million subs in the building.
that's a big channel, right? Yeah,
Yeah, saying that they
that's cool.
rock with me. Oh my goodness, yo, I am honored to have you here. That is so dope. And what an accomplishment you have had with your channel, man. Like, congrats on that. That is so fire that you like did that, man. But no, I'm happy to have you over here. I rock with you as well. And okay, I just got a message from my homie. Okay, Big Heck just hit me up in there. They told me, like, okay, yeah, Big Heck, I know, I see it. Yo, that is crazy. I was here listening to what you were saying, fam. My fault, yo. I kind of drifted off into the chat and I saw that and I was like, yo, Ball is Life is in the house. Go check out Ball is Life's channel. Dig that. Like, that's so crazy. Shout out to that. Wow. Man, that's fire.
That's
That's
cool.
fire. Go ahead, bro. My fault. I wanted to hear your thoughts on the goats. If you could start over for me, like I believe that the goats are just sacrificial animals. Do you feel like they answered that for you?
Yeah, I do, and I agree with you there. They were just like sacrificial. At first, I thought, oh, they only sacrificed one goat each time, but when you start saying it's per room, it makes a lot more sense because goats grow pretty fast, right? So it's like I'm sure they were just cranking those goats out all the time, but like you said, the guy wasn't also ready to give up that baby yet. He was like, no, it's not. We don't even know, what virtue it has or whatever.
Right. and being the fact that they have a bunch of them, like why would they? Yeah, they grow pretty fast. So why would they just have a bunch of them getting all old and grown and shit like that, right? So
Yeah,
they're using them for
exactly.
sacrifices. Now, in my video, pardon me, in my video, I said that I don't even think that the sacrifices are just for MDR finishing files. It could be for other
Hmm.
accomplishments in other departments as well. You know what I mean? When like when another department fulfills something, maybe maybe O&D, when they finish making a certain number of things that they had to make or something, there's probably a goat sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah,
goat sacrifices probably go through departments. You know what I mean? Because they got a lot of goats in there. It's not like they just had a little bit of goats. You know what I mean? And I believe that the husbandry tank was where we saw the man feeding the goat. That's what I believe the husbandry tank was. So, yeah, there we go.
right. Like there's probably a couple different rooms like that, and then there's one guy in each room just milking or bottle feeding and stuff. But
Yes, yes, indeed. And and in the symbolism, goats represent um all of the things that you would want to get rid of from yourself. Like the like kind of like the four tempers. Like the four tempers. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what that is. Like the goats are symbolizing a sacrifice. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much all it is. Is there
isn't
anything
that kind of what? Well, isn't that kind of what we do culturally? Like we pray over the animal to kind of like onto it, and then also say a safe passage to the other side. Like at least most cultures, from what I understand, at least. I don't know if I'm
absolutely, absolutely. That's why in a lot of these sacrifices, they they actually make sure that the blood spills in certain places on the soil so that there's like this safe passage to the other land or the other world. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Um, you don't want your sacrifice being in turmoil. You know what I'm saying? Um, a lot of people believe that the sacrifice of the goat or the lamb is uh, a release from the turmoil of the world, and it takes the bad things from that human with it when it goes. And so that's what the sacrifice actually means, like, to purge something from oneself. And I believe that they are doing it each time, not just like a refiner, gets something right and they finish a file, but there are other things and other departments that are done that initiate the goat's uh sacrifice as well. And
Right.
it's so crazy. Like the first question that Lauren had to Mark and Helly, or Mark and Helene, was, "Are you here to kill me?" Straight- she came up over the hill and put she had shears in her hand. She's like, "Are you here to kill me?" Because every time you motherfuckers finish something in another department, y'all come get one of our goats, right? And so why are you here? You know what I'm saying? Why are you
I think
coming here?
I think she was also like fed up with giving the goats at that point, right? Like she's given countless goats, and so the toll has been taken both physically and mentally on her, and that's why I think she joined up with Mark and Helly, right? So
And not only that, but they also, like, she also feels some type of way about them coming there. Like them just coming there, this means something. All right, so what do
right,
we see? We see that they actually like imprint themselves on the goats. Like they love the goats like it's their one of their own.
they give
Like,
them names.
yeah, they give them names. They treat them like they. That's the only thing that woke them up. I think Mark and Helly was in some serious trouble if Mark wouldn't have said, "What if it was one of your goats?" You
It
know
was
what I'm saying?
definitely a tenuous moment. Like it was looking like they were about to get jumped.
Yeah, that whole scene hits different now that we realize that she was tired of killing these goats.
Yeah,
That whole scene hits different when Mark says, "What if it was one of your goats?" He hit the nail on the head. He's lucky he said that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they obviously have some kind of connection to these goats. They love these goats. I think that them motherfuckers in the goats mammalians came from Salt's Neck. Like they look like crackheads from Salt's Neck. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, they definitely need some work. They ain't much work out there, so
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But yes, indeed, Food Pyramid, I appreciate you for coming through as always. I'm gonna get to the next caller. We got 667 in
thanks.
the building. Appreciate you for dropping by, man. Peace. 667, what's going on? How you?
I'm doing good.
Yes,
I was
indeed.
just, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Thank you for joining. What's up?
All right, so there was quite a few things I wanted to mention, but the thing that's in the final episode, whenever Cobell's talking about Fro Dralic of Woe,
The
Frolic,
Four
Dread, and
Tempers?
Malice,
Yeah.
yeah, the four tempers, and it flashes to the Waffle Party, and it gave that the bride was Woe, the jester was Frolic, and the goat was Malice. And I
Mhm.
actually wanted to talk about how that kind of disappointed me
Oh,
because yeah, it was one of the very few things that was actually disappointing to me, and I absolutely loved almost everything in throughout the show. But whenever I think of a goat, like a baby goat, like running through a field, that feels very joyful to me.
Frolic.
Yes, and so I was really wanting the because I know that there's a lot of religious imagery of the goat being connected to the devil and stuff, but I
Yeah.
felt like a more literal interpretation of like flocks of goats running together, being happy despite their situation would be a perfect uh interpretation of frolic. And then I would like the personally I would prefer the jester to be malice, because I know that in ancient times a lot of jesters they had the permission to talk badly about the king, and they were like the only ones who were able to do that. So
Right.
in this like extreme version of this hierarchy as seen within Lumen, I could see that being like they're seen as hateful and evil, and they would be malice instead. And I feel like they got those backwards personally, in my own opinion.
Okay, so all right. All right. So you're saying that they didn't nail the Four Tempers right.
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
yes, and that's just my interpretation. I mean, they could always be right. I
Yo,
don't
yeah,
know.
yo, and you know what? I like your interpretation just off the simple fact that you didn't just say they got it wrong and just said it's stupid. Oh, this is stupid. They fucked up the Four Tempers. Like, no, you actually have a reason and rhyme behind it. You know what I'm saying? So you let me get this straight. So you're thinking that the Malice was the jester, right?
Yes, I think that would be a more appropriate interpretation, just based on how Lumen like makes simple things seem evil, like something that should be joyful, and it just demonizes it. It would make sense for it to be malice. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I can agree with that. I agree with that. I can see where you're coming from. I now at the same time, I like what they gave us too. I like
Of course, yeah.
I like what they gave us, but I can say that, I can say okay, so Just Jeff says, why would the jester be malice? And he pretty much what the brother's saying is that the jester would be malice because the jester is allowed to disrespect the king. You know what I'm saying? The jester is allowed to disrespect the king. So the jester is frolic, right? So like why do you think they made okay, so why do you think they made the decisions that they did made as far as the Four Tempers?
So I do think it was honestly um in response to people's theories about it. Like I think people kind of like made this connection, like a jester like figure being a presence of frolic just became something that the community I feel like was very attached to. And I feel like they thought if they broke that, especially during the finale, that would create like a detachment that they didn't want the audience to feel. And that's
Mm.
just total speculation. They could have like their own personal reasons for having the jester being Frolic,
Code
but
Knox
it just doesn't make enough sense to
Code
me.
Knox gives you a little pushback here. The gestures are not malicious with their statements about the king. It's just to entertain.
And so I do agree with that. I'm more looking at this through the lens of Lumen taking everything to the extreme. And like they feed off the negative energy and they demonize things that should be joyful. So I think in reality they would be Frolic, but I think within Lumen and the world that they've constructed, it would more connect to Malice personally.
Yo, why are these people? Why do you? Okay, so since we're talking about that, and the four tempers are in this painting, let me go back on the painting real quick. Why do you think these people are in this painting?
I haven't really thought about this painting too much, honestly.
Really?
I really haven't. I've always um I've only watched the finale once, to be fair. And then of course your video
They
on it.
got Dylan in this motherfucker looking like Thurgood Marshall.
And so I always thought, okay, so one thing about Dylan's, every time Dylan is betrayed by Lumen, whether it be in this painting or in his in the fourth episode when they're outside and they have his animatronic there, or I always thought they were animatronics.
Yeah.
I feel like Dylan's did not look like him at all. And I feel like it was, and okay, I'm sorry, this is a little off track, but I feel like Helly's was extremely realistic, and I felt like everyone else was a little off, and then Dylan was like not even close. And I thought that was another way of like integrating the racism within Lumen and their lack of respect or care for that. And then
Yeah, I
Hel-
saw that too because they hired a guy that was dark skinned to play him.
exactly.
That blew my mind. I'm like, why? I'm
Yeah.
still trying to figure that out. Like, to be honest with you, like, I mean, they already showed us twice that they can hire somebody that looks like him. First, the door guy looks like him. Then the MDR twin that they had, that was downstairs in the testing floor. From now on, I'm calling those, that's micro data refinement to me. That's
Yeah,
micro
I
data
would
refinement.
I would agree with that. I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so so we know that Lumen, they want to appeal to as many groups as possible. So like when they go to the Catholic Church, they'll say, yes, the innies have souls, and yes, the innies have whatever. And I just see it like obviously or I feel like they would eventually want to market this the Severance ship, or they went to market the Severance ship. So I feel like that's just their way of just having as big of an audience as possible. Is like, hey, we hire people of color, etc. Um, and it's just like what we see in today's world, just within Lumen. So
Yes, indeed. We got Just Jeff with the super chat real quick. Thank you, fam, for your generosity. He says, I think Drummond conquered, tamed Frolic, which is why he's so stoic, which is probably also why he had that tattoo. I like that, Just Jeff. Thank you very much for that. But no, for real. Yeah, that's real thought provoking when you think about it. Like, because those tempers could have went kind of either way. You know what I'm saying? What the woe temper. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of that shit made sense to me. Like
how do you mean?
the the whole Dieter thing. The whole Dieter thing. Like, none of that made sense to me.
So I think that's
Kier must have been high on some ether. You know what I'm saying? I none of that really made sense to me. I want to say this real quick before you go and comment on that. Here is the picture of the brother that played Dylan's Ortbo twin.
yeah.
Okay. In order to get this brother to look like Dylan, you gotta literally white facing
Yeah.
pretty much. Like not only white facing, but you gotta do something about that hairline. You got I'm not about to roast bro's hairline. Let me let me stop, y'all. But
So
like nah, like in order to make this dude like I thought this was hilarious how they put the snow on his feet like that. Like what the fuck? Yo?
yeah.
They they put snow on his feet. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he's pointing like, like all this shit was crazy to me. Like, why use this brother to play this brother here? I don't get that. And this is some Ben Stiller comedy. This was done purposely. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't tell me
Absolutely.
that they couldn't have found a light-skinned big brother to play Dylan. Like shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you already did it twice. You got it, you did it with this guy.
Yeah.
I started following him
They
on
could have
IG.
they could have swapped those actors and have him be the door guy and then have him stand out there. And it
Yeah,
would have looked
like
better. Yeah.
exactly, totally. Like, why have yeah, they could have swapped those actors, but this guy right here is a very seasoned actor. I can't remember his name. I started following, bro. But he's a very seasoned actor, and that's why they probably used him because he had speaking parts. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But this brother right here looks nothing like Dylan. There's nothing like Dylan here. Why would you use this guy to play Dylan? You know
And
what I'm saying?
okay, so I do so my so I know that of course these are real actors, but I always saw like just the way that the twins moved reminded me of the perpetuity wing. I thought they were wax figures of these people whenever I first watched the show. And so under the interpretation that these are wax figures and not real people within the lore of the show, I think that could give an explanation like why Dylan does not look like himself in the paintings that would be reflected in the wax figure, and then conversely, Helly Helly's twin looked almost exactly like her. It was really shocking to me. Like I almost jumped out of my seat because I was kind of spooked uh, whenever they panned onto her. But I see that like if we are doing the interpretation that that was supposed to be a wax figure, of course they would like put as much detail as possible into it because that same figure would eventually be placed into the perpetuity wing after her passing or whatever. And I saw that as like another hint towards Helly being an Egan in a sense. I don't know if everything I'm saying makes sense, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, all right, so a lot of people, I seen somebody talking about Severance was trash this season and none of it made sense and all of this. And I was like, you out your motherfucking mind. Like, that's the first thing I said to myself. And I said, let me hear this guy out real quick. And he made some points and stuff that I couldn't really agree with none of it because they answered all of it. Like all of
Yeah,
it was answered. You know what I'm saying? I think they did a very good job answering things. And they left some mystery still with us and they let our theories burn a lot. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So I rocked with it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let's get to the next person. I thank you for coming through. I got one more person in here we're gonna get to real quick. If
All
anybody
right.
else wants to come up, I'm gonna drop the link down there again, real quick. If anybody else wants to come up, we want to get to a couple more people. We've
I
been
just want to
rocking
say
for
one
like,
last thing.
oh yeah, go ahead. I was just about to ask you one thing. We've been rocking for like 2.5 hours, but I just want to ask you one more thing you want to say
Okay.
before I let you go.
Oh yeah, I was just want to say that I absolutely love your content. I love how you think about things and articulate and edit videos. It's just so engaging, and I really appreciate the effort that you put into it.
Well, thank you very much. I'll be doing some more Severance content. I want to thank everybody that rocks with me and watches and you know what I'm saying and keeps and stays in tune with a brother. Even if you don't agree with everything I say, I love the fact that a lot of my audience comes to have the discussion and we talk, about these things. We talk in the Discord, we talk in the comment section, we talk here on the live streams. And I appreciate the engagement that you guys bring to the table. y'all actually keep me on my toes. You know what I'm saying? Y'all actually keep me heavy on my toes. You guys make me better. You make me think more. You make my content better. And you also reward me with watching and liking, sharing, commenting, engaging. And it's such a reward to get that from people that are listening to my shows. Like I consider my videos as shows. And so I appreciate everybody that comes through with that, man. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful sentiment. And actually, just one last thing popped into my head, and it's just
Mhm.
a detail. We don't have to talk about it. But in this episode 4, there's this shot where it pans from Irving to Mark, and there's a weird distortion in the camera, and it switches to like a wider frame. And I always thought that showed how either I came up with 2 potential explanations for that is either Irving was more like focused and in tune with his surroundings, and it was another hint as to how he figured out that Helly was being impersonated, and that uh, Mark was more like open and affected, so it switched from that shorter frame to a wider frame, or that it was a hint to Irving having not starting the reintegration process while Mark has, and so that explains the shift from a shorter frame to a larger frame. And it's a very slight distortion, but it's definitely there, and I do think it means something, and it's probably one of those 2 things.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes, we will definitely ponder on that for sure, for sure. Thank you again, 667, for joining me. I'll shit. Don't be afraid to come through next time, man.
All right.
Peace, peace. All right, who else we got? We got Sierra here. Sierra here. Am I saying that right? How you doing? Thanks for joining.
Hey, it's Kira.
Kira, how you doing, Kira?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm sorry about that.
You're good. So I don't have a
One,
lot to talk
you know
about.
what? One quick thing, sis. Hold on one
Okay.
second. 1 second. Dawn drops the super chat. Thank you so much, Dawn, for your generosity. And she says, I think the painting is everyone that any Mark has met in his lifetime up to this point. Real is the real. Thanks for doing this. Thank you so much, Dawn. Thank you. You know what? Let me pull that painting back up real quick. See if I can get the painting back up. Hold on. Because I think you may be right about that. I think you may be right about that. And you could chime in on this as well, sis. Hold on, let me see here. Okay, yeah. So let's look at it real quick. Okay, yeah. The fact that you have those MDR, the replacement MDR people with Mark W and Gwendolyn and what was his name? Dario. Yeah, I think you might be right about that. That is everybody that any Mark has come into contact with. So that would answer questions like why Ragabi isn't in there. You know what I'm saying? Any Mark found the baby. You know what I'm saying? So any Mark definitely knows Rickon, the baby. So Rickon's baby is in this picture. I think you are right with that, Dawn. I think you're 100% right with that. And we can tell that this is any Mark at the at the desk right there. That's any Mark for sure. He's refining, he's holding up the as above, so below, and it's doing an inverted version of it, like the solve coagulate. Solve coagulate. If y'all don't know what that means, look it up. Solve coagulate, right? Those are the tattoos that the Baphomet has on his arms. A lot of people don't even know that the Baphomet has tattoos on his arm. But also but see, yeah, that makes sense. Because when you think about it, she said up until this point. So Mark had not met Evil Hodor yet. And that's why Evil Hodor wouldn't be in here. And any Mark had never met in Ragabi. And so that's why Ragabi wouldn't be in here. Also, we had the midwife that was Dawn's midwife. She's not in here, but everyone else is here. Like all of the Egans are up top, and we know that they are, he's seen them in the perpetuity wing, so he knows what they look like. Everything else. So I think we've cracked the code. I think Dawn has cracked the code on why we don't see some people and why we see these people. Everybody that Mark has met up to this point. I appreciate that very much. What are your thoughts on that? And then let me know what you had to say.
Well, about the picture, I was wondering why Rickon's friends aren't in it because he did meet them too, but I'm
Rickon's friends are in there.
is Patton in there? Are they in the
Yeah.
back?
Yep.
Oh,
Patton,
I didn't even
Rebecca.
see them back there.
Yeah, they're in there. That's he met them.
I
And
guess
so
that is everyone then.
yeah, it is pretty much everybody he's met. You know what I'm saying?
I don't have too many thoughts on the picture, but I do I wanted to talk about the goats. So, excuse
One
me if
real
we've
You know what? One real quick.
Mhm.
Nah, for real. Just Jeff, thank you for that super chat. Mickey B is definitely right about that. That explains why Natalie is also not in that picture because he didn't meet her either. I didn't see him meet her. You know what I mean? I seen her down on the Severance floor twice, and she went down there to fire Cobell, and then she went down there to give Milchick that bullshit photo shit. I mean those paintings. But yeah, go ahead. Thank you again, Just Jeff.
So excuse me if we've already talked about this in the first season, but the goats are 100% people. Like Rebecca, I definitely think, I think what they're doing is they're holding real people's personalities hostage in the goats. And I think that they've put so much emphasis on if you're down here, it's because you chose to be here. So I think that, like, how I don't think they kidnapped Gemma. I think she came there willingly. And I think they did the same thing with Rebecca. She might not have known what she was getting into, but I think she came willingly. And because of that choice she made, she's going to end up having to get sacrificed when one of these files are completed. So I think when a file is completed and they sacrifice a goat, they're sacrificing a real person to cure, is what I think they're doing.
Okay. That's very interesting. I thought that they were doing the goat consciousness thing. I definitely thought that they were putting goat consciousness into people, and they could probably still be a
I
part of
think
it.
they
Like
are.
that, yeah,
Yeah,
they could
exactly.
possibly still be doing that. You know what I'm saying? I know I was on that level of thinking, but then this episode kind of like, I don't know, like what do you do with a goat after you kill it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is going to happen? Like, what's I don't know. I don't know how to. I didn't know how to take that really. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
What is the goat going to do? Like, some people. I forgot where I heard this, but somebody was saying. I think it was in my live stream. Somebody said something about the goats being used as like storage for the severance chips. Like you can kill them and put a severance chip inside of them.
Exactly. I think that the person Rebecca, I think she is a goat. Like I think the goat's personality is in her brain and her brain is in the goat. So I think I don't know if it might be more valuable to Kier to sacrifice the human personality instead of the goat personality. I think that's why that choice was made. And then when I was thinking to myself, I was thinking, if that's the case, if the human personality is in the goat, then wouldn't they be a little more rebellious? But then I was thinking, probably not, because the brain of a goat has certain limitations. It can't do or perform how our brain can. So even if, like, you put Rebecca's personality in a goat, she can't really make all of the choices that she could if she were human. So that's probably why they are able to be so tame, but it still technically be like the human soul.
I thought that they were using the goats as a conduit to make the any.
Hmm.
That's why Irv says things like, "Hey kids, what's for dinner?" This and that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought that was.
And that could be possible too, but I don't know like how that would work.
Ooh, hold on. We got a super chat here. Thank you for that super chat, Brandy. And she says, "Who in the pick is Carol B, who Dylan replaced?" Because that does put a little pushback on the theory that this is everyone that Mark's seen because he met Carol D. So where would Carol D be? And are we ever going to see Carol D? Because I started thinking that Carol D was a Chekhov's gun, a little something, something. But another Chekhov's gun was when Don mentioned the therapist with the weird mustache. I believe that's Dr. Marr. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. But what do you think about the Carol D situation?
I
Carol
don't
B.
know.
I'm sorry.
Did Carol B, did she replace was she there before Petey was there?
She was there before Dylan. Dylan replaced her.
Okay. If that's the case, then I don't know. Because I thought she replaced Irving, but that wouldn't make sense with the
Yeah,
timeline.
Irvin is the most senior refiner.
I think Carol D, we're definitely going to see Carol D or Carol B in the next season because I think she's going to definitely be someone we've run into already since they're not showing us her face.
Oh, okay. Bro said he meant Natalie is in the pic. Oh, yeah. My fault. Yeah, I did misspeak on that. Thank you for that super chat, by the way, Just Jeff. No, I definitely did. Because Natalie is there. She's in there. You know, one thing I noticed is how the woe temper was rendered. Why is it a different art style? Now, here's the thing, too. I'm gonna get into this, and I'm not gonna talk about it a lot in this live stream because I'm gonna do a whole video on this. But there is a chance that Irv did paint this. Definitely a
Yeah,
chance
I
that
think it
Irv
is.
painted.
I think it is possible. Yeah.
I mean, let's look at this for a second. Hold on. I know I had it here. Where is it at? I had a picture of Mark holding up Gemma's missing poster. It was. I thought it was somewhere in the video. I thought I put it in there, but anyway, the missing poster looks a lot like the same art style that is used to create these people. You could
Yes,
see
but
it.
also it's the same art style as the other pictures from OND too. So I'm like, even from the OND Calamity picture, it's the same art style. So I don't think Irving would have time to paint all those paintings though.
Well, he's been working there for what 8-9 years. I mean, he definitely, and he was only working on an MDR for 3 of those years. So he worked there for like quite some time. He's been working for Lumen other than MDR longer than he's been working for MDR. You know what I'm saying? Like he was somewhere else working for Lumen. And my thing is like, how would they have had the foresight? And let me be quiet. Let me just and notice the Vesica Pisces as well in the vignette. I don't know if y'all can see that, but the vignette is definitely a Vesica Pisces.
Yeah, I see that. But okay, so do you think that if Irving did paint these paintings, was it in any version of Irving?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I really, you know what? I'm going to say this about it. I gave Severance 100 score. I gave every episode a 10. Um, I'm one of these kind of people. Like when you have a really good show, great cinematics, when you pay attention to the way they film, the acting, the storytelling, I will give a show a pass to make some mistakes. Like I'm okay with that. Like it's not perfect. And I don't think that the score 10 is a perfect score anyway, right?
Mm.
But you know, I definitely can say this. I gave him 100, but the Irv and Bert thing in episode 9 left me feeling a little unresolved. You know what I'm saying? Like just having him ride off into the sunset on a train with his dog kind of threw me off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that. I hope we get them back. And it was crazy to me because when I was at Paley Fest, John Turturro and Christopher Walken were the only two people not there. And I just felt like it felt like an incomplete panel without them there. It really did. I would have loved to have some of their insight. I would have loved to see what they had to say. I don't know. I remember I had a guest on here that was saying that there was some turmoil amongst the cast and the directors, money situations and stuff like that. I mean, he was saying that stuff, but he didn't bring any proof. But he was definitely making some insinuations like that. I don't know if it was true. You know what I'm saying? But man, I really hope that we resolve Irv. There's a way they can do it without Irv being there. Um, they could just kill him. They could just kill him, and then they could start showing us who he was actually on the phone with, and we could pick up from there, right? They could just pretty much
Hmm.
reveal who he was talking to, and they can reveal these things in that way. But I just don't feel resolved with that storyline. I don't see like there was nothing. Where did where did when did Bert start having feelings for Irv? Like, that kind of makes me feel like he was never severed.
I think he could have, even before he met his innie, I think he could have been had feelings for him maybe. But I feel like before Irv got on that train, like if they would have just killed him and left it like that, I would have been cool. But after that whole thing with Bert taking him to the train, it kind of added something on that left me hanging when it was over. So I that kind of was unsatisfying.
Ah, Mickey B said, "Don't do do not kill my Irv." Then she said, "Bert stole Irv from me."
I honestly would have been okay with that.
Y'all are funny, yo. See, this is the type of feedback that I get that fuels me for jokes later. You know what I'm saying? But yo, Kira, I appreciate you for dropping by. I'm about to get off here soon. You can stay on while I go ahead and outro us real quick.
All
Um,
right.
uh, yeah, I appreciate you for coming by and dropping some thoughts on this. It's getting a little long. I don't like making these too long because I like them to have some replay value. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes
Mhm.
people listen to these while they're working out or jogging or whatever, and I appreciate that as well. But I like to keep them kind of short so that people actually feel compelled to rewatch. But yes, thank you everybody for dropping through. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to work on my voice, get my voice back and everything. My voice is all messed up. I got this cold. I'm gonna do some more, regiment to get rid of that. We have a big stream tomorrow with Miscellaneous Gab. Shout out to Miscellaneous Gab. She's gonna be here tomorrow as my special guest. We're gonna do that at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 3 o'clock for everybody on the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I can't appreciate y'all enough. Like I mean, I really love the surgence of viewership that I got this season of Severance. I really appreciate everybody that digs the content. I am a reflection of you guys. Like, just as much as fun as you have over here, I have that same amount of fun creating these videos. I know you can tell. I'm joking in the videos, I'm having fun, but I'm dropping my history, dropping my esoterics, dropping my theories, just dropping my commentary on the certain philosophical things as well. But I just feel so at home when I'm making these videos for you guys. And I'm glad that I was able to get the video out. Hopefully it was a nice substitute for us not getting an episode this week. And I will try to keep a video out every week. But if I don't, we will definitely do some live streams and we'll talk about some of the things that I ponder on. But expect at least 10 videos before season 3 comes back. And we're going to be cooking on certain character dynamics. We're going to talk about some of the philosophical stuff. We're going to dig into auditing some of these theories, not just my own theories, but other theories as well. And shout out to everybody that, took the big Hodor, the evil Hodor thing and fronted like they made that shit up on to their viewers. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna shout out your name, but like, yo, shout you out. Like, I'm shouting you out. I know you probably listening to me. You probably be over here listening to me. And I know when that evil Hodor came through, motherfuckers was looking at my page like this right here. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. A lot of people didn't catch the baby boy reference, but yeah, you know, I just want to be real with y'all and just, you know, keep it a stack myself. I don't take nobody else's content. I don't say anybody else's jokes and try to pass them on as my own. Somebody says something funny, I give them their props. If somebody has a dope theory, I give them their props. It's really not that hard to do. Like, give props to those where it's due. You know what I'm saying? I'm from those, like, give the props where the props is due and show and prove. You know what I'm saying? And don't come with the ad hominem attacks if you disagree with somebody. Tell me what you disagree about. Tell me what give me some substance so that I can talk back. You know what I'm saying? Cause you definitely don't want to get into a roasting session with me. You know what I'm saying? I will roast the shit out of you. You know what I'm saying? But all the ad hominem attacks. Next time somebody throw me an ad hominem attack, I'm gonna roast the shit out of them in the comments, y'all. And we can laugh at it. You know what I mean? We definitely gonna have a good joke about it. But it is what it is. I appreciate all of y'all for coming through. We had some fun, as we always do. Thank you, Kyra. Thank you, everybody else. 667, Food Pyramid who came through. Thank you, Ball is Life, for coming through. Ball is Life got the 4 million subs, yo. Like, I wouldn't even know how it feels to have a million subs. Like, that must be crazy. Ball is Life is over there doing the damn thing. Shout out to that channel. And I'm so honored to have that person in the chat. Yo, shout me out, Ball is Life. Shout me out. Give me a shout out. You know what I'm saying? You love my content. Let everybody know you fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Shout me out. Shout out my last video. My last video, you know, I came through with it late. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. I appreciate all of you for coming through. And just a little something to think about while we wait on the next episode. That is all for the wellness session this evening. We'll catch you in the next one, which is tomorrow. Miscellaneous Gab, 6 Eastern PM, Eastern time. Let's get it. Peace.